Welcome to Chinese Novel Audiobook. Chapter 21. Is this a hidden plot? It has been 3 Earth days since the closed beta of Elf Land, and the Segu's continent has also passed 12 days. As time goes by, more and more of the 300 players have been promoted to level 10. Demacia is the same. As early as a day ago, he had become a level 10 power player. However, the experience required to be promoted from level 10 to level 11 is far beyond the player's imagination, and it requires 10,000 points. And from level 9 to level 10, it only has 3,000 points. After these days of familiarity, the method of gaining experience in Elf Country has been explored by the players. As far as the current situation is concerned, in summary, there are nothing more than two, either doing tasks or hacking monsters and upgrading like other games. Different from other games, the special effects of this game after killing monsters are quite realistic, and the **** level makes people wonder how this game is going through trial. At the beginning, many players were not used to it, but after a long time, they become numb. Is the most realistic virtual game after all. Anyway, you can't get used to it. You can also choose to mosaic the **** picture in the field of view in the game system. After being promoted to level 9, the players divided into two factions regarding promotion. Some relatively conservative players, such as Cuckoo Birds, chose to stay in the camp, intending to continue to rely on completing tasks to promote the Black Iron. Another part of the radical players who couldn't wait to take risks chose to leave a safe zone 10 kilometers away and try their luck outside. Cut down trees or kill monsters will get some experience points, but the creatures in the safe zone are too weak, and the experience gained is also poor, far inferior to the task. Therefore, some players suggested that after the strength is almost the same, try outside the safe zone, and perhaps find a powerful monster that can provide a lot of experience. Some players choose to leave the safe zone after level 9, explore the dark zone, and try their luck to see if they can find the monsters that can provide experience points. Facts have proved that their choice is not wrong. On the same day, a player named Bento led a team to encounter a 9th level forest python outside the safe area. After several people killed it together, they got a lot of experience points. After this incident reached the camp, it caused a lot of sensation, and many players were interested in it. Several players who originally planned to advance to level 11 by doing tasks even directly joined the bold pioneers. However, the vast majority of people still choose to follow the guidance of the system's novices and securely promote themselves by tasks. After all, as the level gets higher, the death penalty of the game becomes higher and higher. No one wants to accidentally return to the liberation the next night and start from scratch again. In fact, this resurrection mechanism of the celestial difficulty has already caused some players to complain. I don't know how many times I have complained on the official forum. Eve is also considering making improvements. Besides, even with the mosaic, the **** screen of killing monsters makes some players uncomfortable. Therefore, the players who choose to take risks in the end are still few, and most of them are men. Demacia was interested in exploration. He died a few times before level 5, and only returned to his life after fighting his old life. At this moment, Lemur and Cuckoo Bird are already sprinting for Black Iron. He didn't want to be left too far by Brother Mew, and finally chose to take risks, and he attracted 3 other level 10 male players who wanted to try his luck. 4 people, 3 power systems, 1 spell casting system, decided to leave the safe area and go to the dark area to explore. As we left the safe zone, the vegetation of the fairy forest became more and more lush, and it became more and more difficult to move. As soon as Demacia was walking in the forest, he used his weapon to cut a path, while watching the surroundings vigilantly, looking for possible monsters. There are too many plants, right? It's hard to walk. Private forest after all. Brother Demacia, is your news reliable? There are forest pythons here. Don't worry. Absolutely. The news that I bought a sun cedar from the box lunch, he saw it with his own eyes. Listening to the teammate's inquiry, Demacia patted his chest and promised. At present, the materials are not full, so the currency system of the Elf Kingdom has not been established, and players can only barter. However, Eve has designed a contribution system to replace currency, which will be officially opened after player level 11. That's it. After listening to Demasia's explanation, several players felt relieved. A group of people continued on. Hundreds of meters away from Demacia and the others, a pair of big piercing eyes is watching everything. It is Uktrahir guarding Basaka. Basaka hides in a gap in the ancient woods, observing several players, while in his hand he holds a trembling goblin. This goblin was caught by him on the edge of the ruins of Feilenqui. It has level 10 strength, but he has been beaten to death by him. Basaka grabbed the goblin like a chick while watching the movements of several players. Demacia and others did not notice the prying, they still chatted quietly while moving forward. How far have we gone out? Almost 7 kilometers out of the safe zone. Hush, keep your voice down, this is not a safe zone, it will be miserable if you encounter a black iron level monster. Suddenly, Demacia, who was walking in front, changed his expression, and his pointed ears moved slightly. Saw him stretch out his hand and make a shish gesture, then whispered to his teammate. Quiet. I seem to hear something. The air pressure suppressed the faint excitement. The team suddenly became quiet, and several people immediately raised their spirits. They lowered their bodies, held their breath, and looked around with their eyes widened. Yeah. Suddenly, a sharp and miserable sound came from the front, startled a swarm of birds. The hearts of several people were tight, and they quickly pulled out their weapons. Yeah. The screams were getting closer, with a hint of madness. The few people became energetic, and immediately put on a fighting position, their hearts pounding. It's ahead, Demacia said solemnly. As soon as his voice fell, he saw the bushes in front of him suddenly clashed, and a thin green-skinned creature rushed out. This creature was wearing tattered clothes with a grim expression and bloodshot eyes. It rushed towards several people like crazy. Brother! Goblin! Several people yelled at the same time. The only caster cast an appraisal, and then his eyes lit up. Level 10. But there seems to be an injury. It has no weapons. Okay, so fierce. Isn't it afraid of us? A trace of excitement flashed in Demacia's eyes, and he waved a broad knife, excitedly said. Just leave it. It's a door-to-door experience. It's done. Pick it up. Don't let it go. Several other people also shouted. After finished speaking, several people, wow, shouted and wielded wooden knives towards the goblins. However, what makes a few people strange is that this goblin didn't hide, so he slammed into it, blood overflowing, and died in a sword. At the last moment, a trace of relief flashed in its eyes. The hidden war ritual was slowly launched, and the body of the goblin instantly became old and turned into ashes in an instant. At the same time, news came from the 4-person system. Only at this moment, the 4 players were a little stunned. Why doesn't it hide? How do I feel like it's looking for death? I think so too, it seems that someone is chasing it behind. Oh, you give me a hand, I am a little dizzy. Quote, quote. Quote, quote. Wait, what is this? Suddenly, a player knelt down and fumbled for a shiny crystal from the ashes that the goblins had turned into. It is an irregular light green crystal, which seems to contain a mysterious power. Drops. Is it a gem? Let me verify. Can't verify. Could it be what mission item? The players were a little excited and a little confused. At this moment, the bushes in front moved again, and a huge figure enveloped the 4. Basaka walked out of the woods and came to a few people. Looking at the oak tree guard that was more than 30 meters high, several players swallowed at the same time. Fuck. What is this? Tree people. Good. So big. Demacia thought for a while, suddenly his eyes lit up. It's the Oak Guardian. We met the Oak Guardian. Oak Tree Guard. Is that the rare NPC mentioned by Mu University? Yes. It must be him. I have seen a screenshot of him. After finishing talking, www.mtlnovel.com, Demacia suddenly again. No wonder the goblin ran desperately, it must be the Oak Guard chasing it. After speaking, he has another meal. And many more. Your own group won't the prey of the Oak Guardian, right? Several other players also thought of this. They looked at each other, and then raised their heads somewhat vigilantly, ready to run away at any time. They already know that the NPCs in this game cannot be measured by the experience of other games. The NPCs here also have emotions, anger, sorrow, and joy. Although the Oak Guardians are also a natural camp, They have never dealt with it after all. What if it's a bad temper? Anyway, looking at the 30-meter-high man and the hideous appearance, several people were a little bit embarrassed. This big guy doesn't seem to be annoying. But then, they were stunned by the performance of the oak guard. I saw that the giant tree man with a height of 30 meters suddenly stopped, and bowed slightly to several people, stretched out his hand to draw a natural symbol on his chest, and said in a deep voice like an old gentleman. Honorable Chosen One, thank you for destroying this evil thief for me. In order to express my gratitude, I can satisfy an appropriate request of you. A few people, look at me, and I look at you. It seems that I haven't recovered from the conversation of the Oak Guardian. Thief. Does it mean that gem? A request. Suddenly, Demacia was refreshed, and seemed to understand something. Saw him pat his thigh and said, "You are stupid. Hidden missions must be hidden missions. We must have hit the hidden plot." Chapter 22. Team up with NPC. Hide the plot. The other three players were first surprised when they heard Demacia's words, and then overjoyed. Really? Brother, are you sure? Demacia slapped his chest and said. It must be. How many years I have played games, don't see more of this game routine. But Brother Mew didn't say that. Elf Kingdom cannot be measured by common sense. Someone whispered. Demacia choked. He coughed awkwardly, and then waved his hand in a somewhat awkward manner. Well, how can I know if I don't try? After finished, he glanced excitedly at the oak guard who was silently waiting for a few people to answer, and then told his teammates. I'm here to negotiate, listen to me, don't say anything. It's really good, when the time comes, the brothers will split equally. The remaining three players nodded and fell silent. They still trust Demacia. Although this guy is a funny comparison, he is very righteous. Have you discussed it? At this time, Basaka's thick voice also came from above. Demacia's eyes rolled, and then he laughed. He wanted to be a harmless and honest look, pulling the favor of the oak guard, but I don't know how. After the original handsome elf appearance and Demacia's demeanor temperament, there is always a sense of playfulness. Ahem, hello. We have discussed it. That, are you the oak guardian? Demacia learned from the other side and drew a tree symbol on his chest. Is just a little nondescript in action and looks very funny. Basaka was silent for a moment and replied. Yes, I am the guardian of the silver oak, my name is Basaka. Trace the fetish in the name of Mother God. I'm going. Silver. How many levels does this have? Basaka. B. Uncle B. Don't tell me, it's a bit like. After hearing the answer from the oak tree guardian, the other players couldn't help but muttered. Demacia looked back at a few people and made a hush motion, then turned to look at Barthaka, rubbing his hands and said cheerfully. It turned out to be Barthaka-sama. Cough cough, that, disrespect and disrespect, this is not the fetish you are talking about. Said, he took out the light green crystal that he had just found in the ashes of the goblin. Oak tree guard flashed his eyes and nodded. That's right. It really is. Demacia's heart moved. He thought for a while, and carefully confirmed again. You said, can we meet an appropriate request? Basaka glanced at him, nodded, and said with deep meaning. Yes, appropriate. He clicked the key point. Was glanced at by the oak tree guard, and for a moment Demacia felt as if he had been seen through. He gave a sharp cough, coughed a few times, and suppressed the cautious thinking of the lion's big mouth that had just emerged. I saw him hesitate for a moment, and finally gritted his teeth and said. Can you tell us what this is? He is betting that this unknown crystal is the key to a certain plot. Looking at the attitude of the oak tree guards, it should be impossible for them to get this god. In this case, if the plot is really hidden, then it must be related to the information of this god. After hearing Demacia's words, Basaka was silent for a moment and asked. Is this your request? Hearing what the other party said, Demacia lifted up. There is a play. Is able to continue the conversation, that means he chose the right direction. His mood is getting more and more excited. Several other players also thought of this. They glanced at each other and saw a glimmer of expectation in each other's eyes. I saw them nodded together, and then said in unison. That's right. Please tell us the origin of this god. Hearing the players' reply, the giant oak guard extended his hand to Demacia. Demacia was taken aback first, and then reacted. He took out the crystal and put it into the giant hand of Basaka. Took back the fetish, Basaka once again drew a tree symbol on his chest, and then the voice was fanatically authentic. This is the crystallization of the mother goddess's blood left over from the gods after the battle thousands of years ago, and can help him recover his strength faster. Turned out to be used by the goddess to restore her strength. Several players were shocked after listening. And then, they suddenly thought of the main storyline of Elf Country. Assist the ancient Eve Uktrahir to restore his strength and revive the elves. Could it be? I really hit a hidden mission. The hearts of several people were beating with excitement, and there was a faint expectation. After finishing speaking, Basaka glanced at several players, and a trace of appreciation flashed in his deep eyes. The chosen one, thank you for your help. Your integrity and bravery are commendable. I will go to the temple of nature and report the recovery of the gods to the Mother God. At the same time, I will report your contributions to the Mother God. You are willing to join me. Go. As soon as the voice fell, several lines of system frames suddenly appeared in the vision of Demacia and others, accompanied by a wonderful clink. Open black lens bracket ding. Basaka's favorability towards you increased by 20 points, and your relationship became friendly. Close black lens bracket. Barsaka invited you to form a team, do you accept? Close black lens bracket. Team up. Several people's eyes lit up. There is a team system in Elf Country. The experience gained after the team will be divided equally according to the team's contribution, and the minimap will also be shared. However, in the past, only players teamed up with each other. This is the first time that an NPC has proposed teaming up. At this moment, a few people are almost 100% sure that they have encountered a hidden plot. Demacia and others were almost in ecstasy. They nodded repeatedly, for fear that the Oak Guard would regret it. Accept. We accept. Very good. The giant oak tree guard nodded. Saw him bend down slightly and made a request. Come on, it's a long way, I'll take you back. Can this happen? Several players looked at each other and became more excited. There are not many opportunities to be able to use the Oak Guardian as a mount. Sure enough, the hidden mission is the hidden mission. This has not officially started, you can experience a silver mount. Imagining the expressions other players might have when riding on the shoulders of the Oak Guards and returning to the camp, several people almost laughed. Go. Let's get in the car. I saw them cheering for a while, and then like agile monkeys, they climbed onto the shoulders along the tree trunk and sat down excitedly. This height is great. Uncle B. Saigo. Move over there, I want to sit and watch the scenery. Several players were very excited. Sit down, we are leaving. Seeing the player sit down, Basaka slowly got up and hurried towards the world tree. Fairy forest, under the world tree. Everything here is different from 10 days ago. With the bonus of magic and sword skills, coupled with continuous efforts, 300 players finally brought the personality of the Tianqiao infrastructure crazy monster to the extreme. After several days of construction, the camp under the world tree has undergone earth-shaking changes, and the elven town conceived by several player designers, such as Cuckoo Bird, has finally taken shape. In the middle of the town is a small and exquisite natural temple, enshrining the statue of the ancient Eve Uktrahir. Here is also the residence of the natural Saint Alice Hayate. In front of the temple is an open bonfire square, which can accommodate up to 1,000 people. At the same time, Alice also built a teleportation array here, which can directly reach the player's resurrection point on the world tree. With the square as the center, there are 4 roads radiating outward. On both sides of the street are wooden houses of different shapes, belonging to a player, and many have their own courtyards. Faintly, a unique novice village has gradually taken shape. At this moment, it is in the afternoon. Countless players are still busy in the town, carrying out various construction tasks to accumulate experience. Boom. Boom. Suddenly, there were bursts of rumbling sounds coming from a distance, and the sounds were getting closer and closer, like the footsteps of some giant creature. What sound? The players stopped their movements, raised their heads in confusion, and looked towards the direction of the sound. I saw a rustling sound from the forest southeast of the town, and a group of startling birds flew from it. Then, a giant tree man with a height of more than 30 meters pushed aside the branches and leaves and walked out slowly. This huge tree man is so mighty that it attracted the attention of countless players as soon as it appeared. Fuck. What is this? Treeman. No, it's the Oak Guardian. I saw it on the edge of the safe zone. The power is terrifying. Why did he come to the camp? The players were suddenly caught in a commotion, very curious. Wait, aren't the people on his shoulders Demacia? Suddenly, some people on the shoulders of the Oak Guard were sharp-eyed, and they exclaimed in an incredible way. As soon as these words came out, the players were stunned. And when the oak tree guard gradually approached and Demacia's sleazy and beautiful expression fell in everyone's eyes, the player suddenly exploded. All go. It's really that hard. It's really them. Why did they sit on the shoulders of the oak guard? It's so cool. The thief is so envious. What happened to them? Demacia. Demacia. How did you do this? For an instant, the players put down their work one after another, swarmed up, and surrounded them curiously and excitedly. Looking at the envy, jealousy and hatred around him, but with puzzled eyes, Demacia stood up with the crown of Basaka's canopy. I saw him pinch his waist, raised his head, and said triumphantly. Hey hey! We have triggered a hidden mission. Hidden mission. As soon as this word came out, the players suddenly boiled. Chapter 23, Eve Uktrahir. I'm going. Did you hear that? Did you trigger the hidden mission? Does this game really have a hidden plot? Demacia, is this time for you? What mission? What mission? Players' comments came and went one after another. Standing on the shoulders of the oak tree guard, looking at the small players below, Demacia's feelings don't feel better. Yes, my luck is so good. Ha ha ha. I won't tell you any more, we are going to the temple to meet the goddess. I'll talk to you again when I come back. Ha ha ha. Their voices are full of pride. Go to see the goddess. Isn't it? Is it the goddess Eve? Ah. Why is it not me who triggered the plot? I am so envious. What the is the task? Is it directly related to the goddess? Will it be the main storyline? The reward must be very generous. This is too enviable. The voices of the players are full of jealousy. Basaka did not pay attention to other players, but silently walked towards the natural temple in front of the central square. As he progressed, the players followed excitedly and curiously, like an army following him. Come on. See what's going on. The oak guard is so handsome. Take a screenshot. Take a screenshot. What the is the mission? Tell me. Slow down. Slow down. I want to come up too. I want to come up too. There are even excited players who want to climb up Basaka's legs. Humph. With a deep snort, Basaka gave the player who was trying to climb coldly. A powerful pressure swept across, and the opponent shivered suddenly, and sat down on the ground. Suddenly, there was silence among the players. A few seconds later, it boils again. Fuck. What a strong pressure. It's terrible. How strong is this oak tree guard? Absolutely beyond the black iron. Is it the silver mentioned in the information? Too frightening. That glance just scared me to death. The players all broke out in a cold sweat, and then they calmed down a lot. No one dared to offend the Oak Guardian anymore. Soon, Basaka carrying Demacia and others came to the Temple of Nature. At this moment, Saint Alice, who has already received the Oracle of Eve, has been waiting here for a long time. I saw Basaka knelt down on one knee again, and Demacia also jumped down from his body and down the branches. After a few players got off the tree, Basaka stood up again, chanting a curvaceous curse in his mouth, and then slowly shrank. In a blink of an eye, he was only 4 meters tall. Looking at the quiet and reliable oak guard in front of her, Alice smiled sweetly. Praise the Mother of Nature. Welcome back, Lord Basaka. She drew a tree symbol on her chest. Praise the Mother of Nature. Your Royal Highness. Basaka is the same. Alice nodded, then turned around and bowed to several players, but after seeing Demacia, her smile faded a lot. Sighed slightly, she said. Come with me, the ceremony is ready. Then, he turned and walked towards the inside of the temple. Demacia smiled wryly, then winked at a few teammates, followed one after another. Before entering the door, he paused again, thought about it, and then turned on the system's video recording function. Basaka walked at the end. When he entered the gate, he paused slightly, and said to the surrounding players behind him. The idlers, etc., are not allowed to enter. The voice is deep and cannot be refused. After that, He walked in and closed the gate of the temple. I'm going. Is it so mysterious? I really want to see it. The window is lying. The window is lying. The window is open. For a while, a large wave of players leaned on the windows of the windows, listened to the corner of the wall, and squinted their eyes and looked in the cracks of the door. In the temple of nature. Demarsha and the others looked left, looked at again, and looked at everything curiously. Although this temple was also built by players, they did not participate. This is the first time to come in. Because the construction has just been completed, the temple is still very empty, with only a small altar and a holy goddess statue. There is a mysterious magic circle on the altar, and there are faint divine magic fluctuations, and there is a power that can calm people's hearts. Even the excitement of the Demacia people gradually calmed down. Alice and Basaka came to the idol, knelt down on one knee respectfully, and at the same time drew a tree-shaped symbol on their chest, and said religiously, "Praise the Mother of Nature, praise the Goddess of Life, praise the great elf master Uktrahir." After speaking, the two turned their heads and looked at the four players. Demarsha and others were stunned, and then they also reacted, and saw them kneeling on one knee in a decent manner, learning how to draw symbols by two indigenous believers, and shouting, "Praise the Mother of Nature, praise the Goddess of Life, praise the great elf master Uktrahir." As soon as the words fell, I saw the statue on the altar suddenly burst out with a golden light, covering several people. Demarsha only felt that a strange force pulled his consciousness, his vision suddenly turned into a blank, and the control of the body was deprived for an instant. Could it be? Is it an animation? His heart was shocked. www.mtlnovel.com, accompanied by a sense of weightlessness that is difficult to express. Gradually, Demacia regained control of himself. His vision slowly recovered. When Demacia opened her eyes and saw where she was, she suddenly closed her mouth in shock. He found that he had come to an extremely majestic temple with a vast space, and on both sides were huge stone pillars with exquisite and intricate patterns. This temple seems to be located in the starry sky. Through both sides, you can see the deep and magnificent galaxy, which is extremely mysterious and bright. There are faint prayers and singing voices coming from the void, holy and mysterious, and people's hearts can't help but calm, and at the same time, a kind of sincere awe and admiration can't help being born. In front of the temple, there is a high platform, with mysterious and simple characters drawn on the side, in magnificent reliefs. The content of the relief faintly contains nature, life and elves. On the high platform is a gorgeous seat constructed of gold stones, vines, flowers and branches. A graceful figure exuding holy brilliance, sitting on it majestically. Ancient god Uktrahir. She wears a white goddess dress dotted with flowers and plants, her head wears exquisite and luxurious wreaths, her long silver hair reaches her waist, her magnificent and mysterious purple pupils bloom with the brilliance of divine power, her perfect and exquisite face is like a dream. The holy light accompanies her right and left, like the most pious servant. She was sitting there, with one hand supporting her smooth chin, and one hand tapping the armrest of the seat slowly and rhythmically, with a three-point smile on her mouth, kind but not dignified. She looked at a few people, her deep starry eyes were bright, as if covering the entire Milky Way. The Chosen One, we meet again. Ethereal and Holy. Chapter 24. First copy. Eve sat high on the phantom seat in the consciousness space, smiling at the few people who were pulled in by him. Yes, consciousness space. Everything here is imaginary by Eve based on the heavenly temple of the Mother of Nature in the ancient times in the inheritance of the world tree. The player of Blue Star is originally the consciousness drawn by him using the network channel, and he can naturally draw the opponent into his consciousness space. But Basaka and Alice belong to their own believers, and can also be called by themselves. Even though Eve's current state is very poor, she cannot create an avatar. But it's different in the consciousness space. The things in it are all based on his own imagination. Whatever he wants is the best place to fool people. The discovery of the blood crystallization of God involves Eve's further recovery, which is of great importance, and if it is operated properly, it is likely that Eve will have the opportunity to reverse the current disadvantaged situation in one fell swoop, so this time he decided to end himself. In addition, Eve is also to strengthen his sense of existence among players, cultivate players and believers to fight for themselves. the consciousness of fighting for the kingdom of the elves, and establish their leading position in the game. After all, Eve's positioning of himself as not only a GM behind the scenes, but also an important NPC to guide players. If you really rely on the natives for everything, you will be no different from the background board. Players don't care if you are a ***** or a tree, unless you really participate in their game, really benefit them, and really let them recognize your role, they will truly support you. And it turns out that the way Eve chose to play is pretty good. Not to mention that Basaka and Alice, who were moved to tears by the call of the Mother God, piously bowed down to Basaka and Alice. The 4 Blue Star players were completely suppressed. Although they saw at once when they created the character, Eve at that time was just a cutscene program set by him in the game system, and the shock it brought was far more than this time. The magnificent temple, the magnificent galaxy, the sacred and ethereal singing, and the perfect and holy goddess who can't produce even a trace of profanity. God. This is the true God. The apex of the world of Elf Kingdom, the true ruler. When he first entered the temple, Demacia tried to secretly throw an appraisal after seeing the true God, but when he really saw Eve, all these thoughts were gone. That is the instinctive awe of ordinary people after seeing existence beyond their understanding. At this moment, Demacia almost forgets that he is in the game. At this moment, there is only one thought left in his mind. Goddess, do you still accept believers? Under the crown of the Mother God. While Demacia was thinking about it, the enthusiastic voice of the Oak Tree Guard Barcelona rang. I have brought back the gods that belong to you. After finishing speaking, he knelt on one knee and lowered his head respectfully, but he held up the pale green crystal of God's blood. Not bad. Eve on the seat of God nodded gently, his majestic voice was 3-pointed cordial and 7-pointed satisfaction. He lifted up the right hand of the ***** seat and tapped it lightly, and the light green crystal in Basaka's hand flew up and merged into his body. And with the fusion of the blood crystals of the gods, the magnificent temple shook slightly, the holy light became brighter, and the singing became more and more mysterious. Several people in the temple felt that the power of the goddess seemed to be faintly stronger. Eve was very pleasantly surprised when he felt his supernatural power increased to 12 points in an instant. Congratulations to the mother who is one step closer to the glory of the past. Seemed to feel the joy of the mother goddess as well. Alice and Basaka congratulated them happily, and Demacia and others hurriedly learned to congratulate the goddess. Finished speaking, the Oak Tree Guard said again. Under the crown of the Mother God, this time the successful recovery of the fetish, thanks to a few brave and righteous choosers. Thanks to them. Just him. Alice couldn't help but turned her head and glanced at Demacia. Incredible. The highlight is coming. Hearing Basaka's words, several players were shocked. The Grand Temple fell into silence. Comma. Along with the light tapping sound, Eve's solemn voice sounded again. I already know the cause and effect of the matter. The chosen ones, thank you for your assistance. With the gratitude of the goddess, a new system frame appeared in the vision of Demacia and others. Open black lens bracket ding, close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. The main storyline has been triggered, the revival of the goddess close black lens bracket. The plot is here. Is really the plot. And it turned out to be the main storyline. They actually triggered the main line. The spirits of a few players were refreshed, and they were immediately happy. In the past few days, players in the closed beta have been discussing when the main storyline will be launched and in what form it will be launched, but they did not expect it to be triggered by the player. Not only that, the honor of triggering the main line seems to fall on the 4 of them. Open the option dialogue mode. Please select the representative to communicate with the goddess. The system box pops up again. Let me come, I play a lot of this kind of text dialogue games, and there are thousands of characters in the raiders. Demacia winked at several people, stepped forward slightly, his expression calm and proud. Is just a slight squeezing of his fingers, revealing his current inner restlessness. Open black lens bracket representative confirmation. Demacia close black lens bracket. After several players have decided on their candidates, Eve's holy and ethereal voice came again. The chosen, what kind of reward do you want? As soon as the voice fell, Demacia saw 3 options. Answer A. Under the crown of the Supreme Goddess, thank you for your favor, the honest and selfless chosen one does not need reward. Close black lens bracket. Answer B. Under the crown of the Supreme Goddess, it is our duty to serve you, and we don't need a reward. Close black lens bracket. Answer C. Under the crown of the Supreme Goddess, can you talk about divine things? Close black lens bracket. Demartia. Damn, the person planning the dialogue options has a pitfall. Demacia poked in his heart and replied. Under the crown of the Supreme Goddess, can you talk about divine things? Hearing his words, the expression of the goddess seemed to be softer. Only saw her nod slightly and said. This is the blood crystallization of the gods of the world tree. It was scattered all over the forest of the elves after the battle of thousands of years ago. Now, Uller is sending his minions, those evil goblins, to collect the blood of the gods. I want to use this to gain my strength. After speaking, she paused and continued to explain. Uller is the ***** of winter and hunting, and also my enemy. Thousands of years ago, he also participated in the battle to destroy the elf civilization. Ural, the ***** of winter and hunting. Another god. And also clearly regarded as an enemy by the goddess. Several players moved in their hearts, knowing that this is about to officially enter the main storyline. After the goddess said, a new option appeared in Demacia's vision. Answer A. Under the crown of the Supreme Goddess, what can we do for you? Close black lens bracket. Answer B. Under the crown of the Supreme Goddess, do you need our help? Close black lens bracket. Answer C. Under the crown of the Supreme Goddess, can we be your power? Close black lens bracket. Demartia. Are these options different? Under the crown of the Supreme Goddess, what can we do for you? Picked one at random, he replied. Of course. Eve's smile is even brighter. In order to destroy Ural's conspiracy, and for my further recovery, I need your strength. After, she raised her hand, and a soft divine power poured out, transforming a real scene in midair. It was a broken wall full of plants, and the goblins were entrenched there, in large numbers. While laying the altar for sacrifice, they sacrificed the pale green blood crystals of the gods to the gods. This is the sacred city of the elven kingdom Fei Leng Kui. It has now been turned into a ruin. The voice of the female voice was sorrowful and sentimental. Now, it has become a goblin's lair. They are entrenched here, blaspheming the glory of the elves, stealing the power of the world tree. It is a pity that my strength has not been restored, so I can't take action personally, so as not to attract the attention of Ural. While talking, the goddess cast her gaze and looked at several people expectantly. The chosen one, are you willing to replace me and wipe out these evil blasphemers and regain my power? Answer A. Under the crown of the Supreme Goddess, we are willing. Close black lens bracket. Answer B. Under the crown of the Supreme Goddess, we are here to stay. Close black lens bracket. Answer C. Under the crown of the Supreme Goddess, we do our best. Close black lens bracket. Demartia. He has become numb to the options. However, being looked at by the goddess with such expectant eyes, even if there is no option, his answer will not change. Not to mention, this also involves the main storyline. Under the crown of the Supreme Goddess, we are willing. Demacia replied. As soon as the voice fell, the voice of the system sounded again. Open black lens bracket ding, close black lens bracket. The main storyline of the first chapter opens. Act 1. Ural's conspiracy. Open black lens bracket activate quest. The old city close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket objectives of the mission. 1. Establish a stable teleportation circle in Fei Leng Kui. 2. Destroy the goblins entrenched in the holy city Fei Leng Kui. 3. Retrieve the ***** blood crystals belonging to the world tree. Close black lens bracket. Task time limit. Unlimited. Number of tasks. Unlimited. Task level. 9+. Task reward. Complete any goal, have a chance to get experience points, perfect resurrection times, task contribution. Task reminder 1. Barthaka has the map coordinates of Fei Leng Kui, which can be obtained from him. Close black lens bracket. Task reminder 2. Alice Hayate can draw a teleportation circle, and she can seek her help. Close black lens bracket. Task tip 3. Unity is great. There are many goblins, please team up with other players. Close black lens bracket. Task reminder 4. The risk of death in this task is extremely high. Please try to ensure that you have obtained the perfect resurrection times before the battle. Players with the perfect resurrection buff have the same level after death and resurrection, and a buff can be resurrected once. Close black lens bracket. Perfect resurrection is Eve's modification of the resurrection mechanism. In order to let players fight more confidently, www.mtlnovel.com, and work harder, he specially added a new no punishment resurrection mechanism. Anyway, for Eve, just resurrecting the body, the consumption is not much, and it is even far behind the consumption of creating the player's body. Of course, if the player wants to get the number of perfect resurrection, he must do a task. First copy. Seeing the system prompt, several players suddenly climaxed. They really started the main storyline. And it's the first copy. And when they saw the reward, their eyes lit up. Perfect resurrection. Guaranteed the same level after resurrection. Baby. Good baby. As the unlucky person who died several times before level 5, Demacia almost cried when he saw this reward. The 3 players patted his shoulder excitedly. Brother. Good job. All the options are right. Demacia. He twitched his mouth and replied. You will be all right. When several people were very excited, Eve's voice came again. Brave chosen one, thank you for your support. In order to express my gratitude to you, I will give you the exclusive title and the reward you deserve. There are still titles and rewards. A few players have their eyes brightened. Demacia refreshed, and then patted his thigh. That's right. How can there be no reward for opening the script? Long live the goddess. Amidst the cheers of several players, Eve waved his right hand again. Open black lens bracket ding, close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket you get the exclusive title, World Tree Guardian close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket you get reward. Perfect resurrection times 5 close black lens bracket. Subscribe to Chinese Novel Audiobook YouTube channel Chapter 24, the first main mission. Eve sat high on the phantom seat in the consciousness space, smiling at the few people who were pulled in by him. Yes, consciousness space. Everything here is imaginary by Eve based on the heavenly temple of the Mother of Nature in the ancient times in the inheritance of the World Tree. The player of Blue Star is originally the consciousness drawn by him using the network channel, and he can naturally draw the opponent into his consciousness space. But Basaka and Alice belong to their own believers, and can also be called by themselves. Even though Eve's current state is very poor, she cannot create an avatar. But it's different in the consciousness space. The things in it are all based on his own imagination. Whatever he wants is the best place to fool people. The discovery of the blood crystallization of God involves Eve's further recovery, which is of great importance, and if it is operated properly, it is likely that Eve will have the opportunity to reverse the current disadvantaged situation in one fell swoop, so this time he decided to end himself. In addition, Eve is also to strengthen his sense of existence among players, cultivate players and believers to fight for themselves, the consciousness of fighting for the Elf Kingdom, and establish their own leadership in the game. After all, Eve's positioning of himself is not only a GM behind the scenes, but also an important NPC to guide players. If you really rely on the natives for everything, you will be no different from the background board. Players do not matter whether you are a or a tree, unless you really participate in their game, really benefit them, and really let them recognize your role, they will truly support you. And it turns out that the way Eve chose to play is pretty good. Not to mention that Basaka and Alice, who were moved to tears by the call of the mother and piously worshipped Basaka and Alice, the 4 Blue Star players were completely suppressed. Although they saw at once when they created the character, Eve at that time was just a cutscene program set by him in the game system, and the shock it brought was far more than this time. The magnificent temple, the magnificent galaxy, the sacred and ethereal singing, and the perfect and holy goddess that can't even produce a trace of profanity. God. This is the true God. The apex of the world of Elf Kingdom, the true ruler. When he first entered the temple, Demacia tried to secretly throw an appraisal after seeing the true God, but when he really saw Eve, all these thoughts were gone. That is the instinctive awe of ordinary people after seeing existence beyond their understanding. At this moment, Demacia almost forgets that he is in the game. At this moment, there is only one thought left in his mind. Goddess, do you still accept believers? Under the crown of the Mother God. While Demacia was thinking about it, the enthusiastic voice of the oak tree guard Barcelona rang. I have brought back the gods that belong to you. After finishing speaking, he knelt on one knee and lowered his head respectfully, but he held up the pale green crystal of God's blood. Not bad. Eve on the seat of God nodded gently. His majestic voice was three-pointed cordial and seven-pointed satisfaction. He lifted up the right hand of the **** seat and tapped it, and the light green crystal in Basaka's hand flew up and merged into his body. And with the fusion of the blood crystals of the gods, the magnificent temple shook slightly, the holy light became brighter, and the singing became more and more mysterious. Several people in the temple felt that the power of the goddess seemed to be faintly stronger. Eve was very pleasantly surprised when he felt his supernatural power increased to 12 points in an instant. Congratulations to the mother who is one step closer to the glory of the past. Seemed to feel the joy of the mother goddess as well. Alice and Basaka congratulated them happily, and Demacia and others hurriedly learned to congratulate the goddess. Finished speaking, the oak tree guard said again. Under the crown of the mother god, this time the successful recovery of the fetish, thanks to a few brave and righteous choosers. Thanks to them. Just him. Alice couldn't help but turned her head and glanced at Demacia. Incredible. The highlight is coming. Hearing Basaka's words, several players were shocked. The grand temple fell into silence. Da. Comma. Along with the light tapping sound, Eve's solemn voice sounded again. I already know the cause and effect of the matter. The chosen ones, thank you for your assistance. With the gratitude of the goddess, a new system frame appeared in the vision of Demacia and others. Open black lens bracket ding, close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. The main storyline has been triggered. The revival of the goddess close black lens bracket. The plot is here. Is really the plot. And it turned out to be the main storyline. They actually triggered the main line. The spirits of a few players were refreshed, and they were immediately happy. In the past few days, players in the closed beta have been discussing when the main storyline will be launched, and in what form it will be launched, but they did not expect it to be triggered by the player. Not only that, the honor of triggering the main line seems to fall on the four of them. Open the option dialogue mode. Please select the representative to communicate with the goddess. The system box pops up again. Let me come, I play a lot of this kind of text dialogue games, and there are thousands of characters in the raiders. Demacia winked at several people, stepped forward slightly, his expression calm and proud. Is just a slight squeezing of his fingers, revealing his current inner restlessness. Open black lens bracket representative confirmation. Demacia close black lens bracket. After several players have decided on their candidates, Eve's holy and ethereal voice came again. The chosen, what kind of reward do you want? As soon as the voice fell, Demacia saw three options. Answer A. Under the crown of the Supreme Goddess, thank you for your favor, the honest and selfless chosen one does not need a reward. Close black lens bracket. Answer B. Under the crown of the Supreme Goddess, it is our duty to serve you, and we don't need a reward. Close black lens bracket. Answer C. Under the crown of the Supreme Goddess, can you talk about divine things? Close black lens bracket. Demacia. Damn, the person planning the dialogue options has a pitfall. Demacia poked in his heart and replied. Under the crown of the Supreme Goddess, can you talk about divine things? Hearing his words, the expression of the goddess seemed to be softer. Only saw her nod slightly and said. This is the blood crystallization of the gods of the world tree. It was scattered all over the forest of the elves after the battle of thousands of years ago. Now, Uller is sending his minions, those evil goblins, to collect the blood of the gods. I want to use this to gain my strength. After speaking, she paused and continued to explain. Uller is the **** of winter and hunting, and also my enemy. Thousands of years ago, he also participated in the battle to destroy the elven civilization. Ural, the **** of winter and hunting. Another god. And also clearly regarded as an enemy by the goddess. Several players moved in their hearts, knowing that this is about to officially enter the main storyline. After the goddess said, a new option appeared in Demacia's vision. Answer A. Under the crown of the Supreme Goddess, what can we do for you? Close black lens bracket. Answer B. Under the crown of the Supreme Goddess, do you need our help? Close black lens bracket. Answer C. Under the crown of the Supreme Goddess, can we be your power? Close black lens bracket. Demartia. Are these options different? Under the crown of the Supreme Goddess, what can we do for you? Picked one at random, he replied. Of course. Eve's smile is even brighter. In order to destroy Ural's conspiracy, and for my further recovery, I need your strength. After, she raised her hand, and a soft divine power poured out, transforming a real scene in midair. It was a broken wall full of plants, and the goblins were entrenched there, in large numbers. While laying the altar for sacrifice, they sacrificed the pale green blood crystals of the gods to the gods. This is the sacred city of the elven kingdom Fei Leng Kui. It has now been turned into a ruin. The voice of the female voice was sorrowful and sentimental. Now, this is the goblins' lair. They are entrenched here, blaspheming the glory of the elves, stealing the power of the world tree. It is a pity that my strength has not been restored, so I can't take action personally, so as not to attract Uller's attention. While talking, the goddess cast her gaze and looked at several people expectantly. The chosen one, are you willing to replace me and wipe out these evil blasphemers and regain my power? Answer A. Under the crown of the Supreme Goddess, we are willing. Close black lens bracket. Answer B. Under the crown of the Supreme Goddess, we are here to stay. Close black lens bracket. Answer C. Under the crown of the Supreme Goddess, we do our best. Close black lens bracket. Demartia. He has become numb to the options. However, being looked at by the goddess with such expectant eyes, even if there is no option, his answer will not change. Not to mention, this also involves the main storyline. Under the crown of the Supreme Goddess, we are willing. Demacia replied. As soon as the voice fell, the voice of the system sounded again. Open black lens bracket ding, close black lens bracket. The main storyline of the first chapter opens. Act 1. Ural's conspiracy. Activate the main mission, the Old Holy City. Task objective. 1. Establish a stable teleportation circle in Fei Leng Kui. 2. Destroy the goblins entrenched in the Holy City Fei Leng Kui. 3. Retrieve the **** blood crystals belonging to the World Tree. Close black lens bracket. Task time limit. Unlimited. Number of tasks. Unlimited. Task level. 9+. Task reward. Complete any goal, have a chance to get experience points, perfect resurrection times, task contribution. Task reminder 1. Barthaka has the map coordinates of Fei Leng Kui, which can be obtained from him. Close black lens bracket. Task reminder 2. Alice Hayate can draw a teleportation circle, and she can seek her help. Close black lens bracket. Task tip 3. Unity is great. There are many goblins, please team up with other players. Close black lens bracket. Task reminder 4. The risk of death in this task is extremely high. Please try to ensure that you have obtained the perfect resurrection times before the battle. Players with the perfect resurrection buff have the same level after death and resurrection, and a buff can be resurrected once. Close black lens bracket. Perfect resurrection is Eve's modification of the resurrection mechanism. In order to let players fight more confidently, Yu reading www.uakanshu.com also worked harder. He specially added a new no punishment resurrection mechanism. Anyway, for Eve, just resurrecting the body, the consumption is not much, and it is even far behind the consumption of creating the player's body. Of course, if the player wants to get the number of perfect resurrection, he must do a task. First copy. Seeing the system prompt, several players suddenly climaxed. They really started the main storyline. And it's the first copy. And when they saw the reward, their eyes lit up. Perfect resurrection. Guaranteed the same level after resurrection. Baby. Good baby. As the unlucky person who died several times before level 5, Demacia almost cried when he saw this reward. The 3 players patted his shoulder excitedly. Brother. Good job. All the options are right. Demartia. He twitched his mouth and replied. You will be all right. When several people were very excited, Eve's voice came again. Brave chosen, thank you for your support. In order to express my gratitude to you, I will give you exclusive titles and rewards you deserve. There are still titles and rewards. A few players have their eyes brightened. Demacia refreshed, and then patted his thigh. That's right. How can there be no reward for opening the script? Long live the goddess. Amidst the cheers of several players, Eve waved his right hand again. Open black lens bracket ding, close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket you get the exclusive title, World Tree Guardian close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket you get reward, Perfect Resurrection times 5 close black lens bracket. Chapter 25. Are these people reliable? Following the system's prompt sound, several people discovered that there was a purple title under their green name, World Tree Guardian. The fancy font is very cool, and it also comes with flash effects. Wow! Exclusive title. 5 Perfect Resurrection. Great. Several people were very excited. Brave Chosen One, please take my blessing and embark on the journey again. Looking at the 4 excited players, Eve smiled slightly and waved their consciousness back to the real world of Segs. In the hall, only Alice and Basaka remained. Alice, Barthaka, this matter is about my recovery, you must help them well. Eve exhorted again. Yes, Lord Mother Goddess. The 2 indigenous believers replied respectfully. Under the crown of the Mother God. Oak Tree Guard Basaka hesitated, as if he had something to say. Say. Eve nodded. With the permission of the true God, Basaka breathed a sigh of relief, and then respectfully asked. Actually, you can just let me give instructions directly, in fact, there is no need to. Isn't it necessary to direct them personally and call them here? Eve smiled. Basaka lowered his head, and replied in a deep voice. Da. 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 Eve tapped gently on the armrest of the ***** seat, only the sound of the tapping echoed in the temple. A moment later, he let out a chuckle and said. This is a way of entertainment unique to them, you will understand later. After finished speaking, he waved his hand again, sending the 2 favored ones out of his consciousness space as well. Several people in Demacia were in a trance, and found that they had returned to the natural temple in the town. Only at this moment, they have an extra title on their heads, and an extra line in the system bar Perfect Resurrection times 5. Several people looked at each other, then let out a cheer, turned and rushed out of the Temple of Nature. Ha 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 ha. I want to share this news with everyone. Exclusive title. Hey, just the 4 of us. Out of print. I recorded all the cutscene just now, it is so exciting, I want to post the video as soon as possible. When several people pushed open the door of the temple, they found that the surrounding area was full of players. Looking at the crowds, Demacia shouted excitedly. Brothers, sisters, we have started the main storyline. There is a main task. However, at this moment, the players in the town are already boiling. The team has opened up Wasteland. The team has opened up Wasteland. A copy of the Emerald Holy City. Come to a level 10 power system. Don't faint. Let's control the law. 4 equals 1. Is there anyone who can command? Our team lacks a commander. Demacia. The 4 players stared blankly at the crowds forming a lively team. Okay. What's the situation? How does it feel that the whole world knows to open a copy in an instant? At this moment, a player leaned in and gave him a thumbs up. Demacia, you are amazing. You really started the main line. Good. I really want to talk to the goddess too. Listening to what the other party said, Demacia was a little startled. Do you all know? The players nodded. Yes. When you are summoned by the goddess, we start the cutscene, it's just a spectator perspective. I envy you. Yes. The special effects of the cutscenes are great. Eve Goddess Race High. Haha, I have also videotaped, and I have uploaded the video to the internet, so that the envy of the group who did not qualify for the closed beta will be jealous, haha. Demacia. Yes, it must be a full server announcement to open a copy of such a big event. Demacia patted his forehead, a little depressed. He originally wanted to tell everyone about it himself. Wait. Someone uploaded the video first. F. Ling K. At this time, someone leaned over and looked at his title enviously. It's great. World Tree Guardian. Hey, I don't know if we have a chance to get it in the future. When he heard this, Demacia couldn't help but hooked up the corner of his mouth, and the depressed mood just disappeared. Saw him triumphantly pinch his waist, proudly said. Hey, that's not it, this is our exclusive title. After finished, he said again. Hey, that's right, the mission says it's best to have a perfect resurrection, you have to be careful when you team up. As he said, he moved, proudly letting the other party see his perfect resurrection times. 5 status bar. Hearing Demasia's words, the man smiled, and also showed his status bar. Hey, don't worry about that. After the main line is launched, all players who choose to participate in the first mission in the system will be gifted by the goddess with 3 perfect resurrection opportunities. Demarsha. Cough cough cough, that's good. He laughed a few times and waved his hand. I won't tell you, I'm going to see Brother Mew. After finishing speaking, Demacia left the man aback, shaking his head while sighing. Hey, my title of Guardian of the World Tree is so dazzling, so dazzling. The main storyline of Elf Country has begun. The first main quest, Old City, has been released. Completing the mission will not only gain a lot of experience points, but also have the opportunity to get the perfect resurrection times and the contribution that will be activated after level 11. Not only that, in order for players to have a better gaming experience, the Great Mother of Nature Eve Uktrahir also gifted each player who participated in the mission 3 times of perfect resurrection opportunities. The news was announced one by one, and all players above level 9 were boiling. Except for a few players, most of them are eager to try and start to sign up for team formation. Elf Nation does not limit the number of teams in a team, but in order to better exert everyone's strength, most players almost form a 5-person team by default, which is also a common team mode in virtual reality online games. And in the latest strategy of Elf Country, there are also big guys who analyze that the 5-man team is the most efficient way to attack wild monsters. For example, the Bon Lunch team, 5 people work together to kill the powerful forest python. In just a quarter of an hour, the closed beta players formed 21 teams with a total of 91 people. All players are at level 9 or above, and 37 of them have reached level 10. It's just that, on the issue of establishing a teleportation circle, the players have diverged. What? Miss Alice can only make 1 material for the teleportation circle. It is said that the magic ingredients are not enough. In other words, only 1 team can complete mission objective 1. How can it be done? This reward can't be divided. How to decide? Or, draw lots. The lottery is not good. There is only 1 copy of the material for the transmission of the magic circle, and there is only 1 chance to complete the task, and the stable operation must be guaranteed after the establishment of the magic circle. After all, the enemy will definitely destroy it, and the follow-up will definitely require the players' protection. I think it's better to speak on the strength of strength, and the teams will compete. How do you compare? Is there another fight? How to divide the rewards? Is it fair to be fair? For a while, the players argued. Seeing the noisy chosen candidates, Barthaka, who had been waiting for a long time, frowned. When are elves so unorganized and undisciplined? The mission hasn't started yet, but it fell out for a magic circle. Don't they have the sense of unity and modesty of elves? Can these undisciplined guys really complete the mission of Lord Mother Goddess? Although the goblins are weak, he still feels that the former is more powerful than this group of rookies. www.mtlnovel.com. Although the chosen people surprised him very much in the construction of towns, but what follows go to the fight with real swords. Basaka still remembers how they looked like a fool when they peeped at Demacia in the forest. Obviously, this group of heavenly chosen has never been in contact with real battles, and some of them are even fainted. Not only that, the goblins have given birth to priests, and they are commanders with high intelligence. And this group of heavenly chosen people are noisy, and they don't accept anyone, not even a leader. Not to mention that none of them has been promoted to Black Iron yet. In this case, can it really go smoothly? Mother God, your choice, is it really serious? Thinking of this, Basaka's brow furrowed deeper. Looking at Basaka, whose expression became more and more ugly, Saint Alice cast a look that I understand you. Faintly, she had a feeling of finding a confidant. This group of guys dressed in the appearance of elves don't have the slightest noble character of the elves at all, but they are very much like those humans who are only profitable. No, they don't even have human discipline. Very sloppy. Clang, clang, clang. Quiet. While Basaka frowned and meditated, a shout accompanied by a knock overwhelmed everything. Everyone's eyes were attracted to the past in an instant. I saw Demacia standing on a pile of wood, hitting a stone with a wooden knife in one hand, and a trumpet made of huge leaves in the other. Stop arguing. Stop arguing. Brother Mew has something to say. Brother Mew. Li Mew. Hearing Demasia's roar, the crowd gradually calmed down. Chapter 26. The Most Shameless Player. Human beings are like this. When a group of people has no head, as long as there is a slightly stronger person to stand up, you can get everyone's response. The name of the anchor Xiao Mu is still very famous in the game industry, plus he first published a game evaluation post, everyone is willing to sell him a face. Seeing the players calm down, Demacia was very satisfied. He gave in slightly and handed over the horn in his hand to Li Mu who was on stage. Li Mu took the horn, coughed a few times, and then said, "Everyone is quiet, the mission hasn't started yet, we can't mess with ourselves. This game is different from what we played before. We can't just make our own decisions without sufficient preparation." After hearing his words, the players made a commotion. "Brother Mew, what do you mean?" someone asked suspiciously. Li Mu continued. "That is to say, although we have received the mission, we don't know what the dungeon is like, and what the situation of the goblins is. If you go up in such a scattered sand, you may fail. After all, except for Demacia, each of us only has 3 perfect chances to resurrect." After listening to his words, the expressions of the players gradually became serious. Seeing everyone listen to his words, Li Mu was very satisfied. He cleared his throat and continued. "This is not a conventional wasteland reclamation. We don't have unlimited resurrection. After we die 3 times, everything will start again. Looking at the description of the mission, this is probably a protracted battle. Therefore, before we set off, a detailed plan must be made, not divided into countless small teams and swarmed. Uncle B also told us that Phylunqui is 30 kilometers away from us, which is a full 20 kilometers beyond the safe zone. If we rush away in swarms, the variables will be too great. Not to mention that we may encounter danger on the road, but more it's possible to stun the snake. Not only that, we only have 1 magic circle. If the circle cannot be maintained under the counterattack of the goblins after the circle is built, I am afraid the mission goal will still fail." Seeing Li Mu who was eloquent, an accident flashed in Basaka's eyes. The mother asterisk 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 is on top. It seems that there are still people who understand this group of heavenly chosen ones. But, who is Uncle B? Basaka was lost in thought. It is you. Eve, who is peeping all over the sky, sensed the doubts of his believers, and murmured in his heart. Then, Brother Mew, do you have any ideas? A player asked. Li Mu smiled and said. Of course, I suggest that we set up a special attack team composed of players who are good at lurking. They will go to Phylunqui with magic circle materials, but they will not enter Phylunqui, but choose a safe place near Phylunqui. Build a circle. Having said that, the corner of his mouth was hooked. The mission has no time limit. It does not mean that we have to complete Objective 1. Therefore, we can first establish a hidden teleportation array outside the mission location, which is regarded as a stronghold, and then everyone will teleport over to complete the mission Objective 2. After reaching mission Objective 3, everyone will form a team together, dismantle the circle, and re-establish it in Phylunqui. In this way, when we set up the magic circle, the holy city has been recovered by us, and the teleportation circle will naturally not be destroyed by the goblins, and it can also be guaranteed that everyone can get the reward of building the circle. Can this happen? The player's eyes lit up. Deserves to be a senior bug anchor. The peeping Eve sighed slightly. Not only that, after establishing the teleportation circle outside the city for the first time, we can first design a part of the goblins to entice them and try their bases. If they are weak, we will take the initiative to attack. If they are strong, we will fight guerrilla outside the Emerald Cold and slowly consume their power. I think the hunting in the safe zone during this period of time has made everyone aware that the monsters in this game will not be resurrected, but simulated the ecosystem in the real world, so the goblins are also killed. 1. We can fight a protracted battle. The enemy advances and we retreat, the enemy is stationed and harassed, the enemy is exhausted, we fight, the enemy retreats and we chase. Li Mu talked endlessly. This is a good idea. The players nodded one after another. As expected of a senior anchor, this command ability and insight ability is not covered. Brother Mew, you are right. We will listen to you for this mission. At the same time, many people suddenly realized. No wonder there hasn't been any live game in the safety zone recently, you can only eat some fruits. It turns out that you don't kill monsters. Wait, I said why I smelled barbecue in the woods last time. Was it you? Nonsense, eating fruit every day, without any oil or water, is better to barbecue, especially a kind of pheasant in the safe zone, pure natural, pollution-free, and the meat is very tender. If it weren't for the lady sister staring at the camp, we all going to have a barbecue meeting. Quote. Listening to the comments made by the players, Alice was stunned. The mother asterisk is on top. Is this the reason why the animals in the forest have disappeared recently? This group. She gritted her teeth and didn't know how to describe it in words. And the discussion among players continues. Just, Brother Mew, how do you lure goblins? Someone asked. Hearing the question, Li Mew frowned for a moment and said uncertainly. This is indeed a problem, I think we can try to use food to induce. Wait, Brother Mew, I have a good way. Before Li Mew could finish speaking, Demacia came up, www.mtlnovel.com, with a look of excitement. I have a great idea. I can definitely seduce goblins. Li Mew glanced at him unexpectedly and handed the trumpet over. Demacia took it with a big hand, and gave out a burst of lewd laugh, how wretched and wretched. Hey, what about this? We still need our sister players to work hard. Female player. Demacia, don't you think of anything else? The male players booed, while the female players frowned slightly. Where? Demacia smirked, then rolled his eyes and said hee. I think, it depends on the habits of goblins. Hey, do you remember? Many monsters in the game mentioned that goblins do not have females, and their offspring rely on female humans and demihuman creatures as seedbeds. Now but it is spring, the season when everything recovers. He said with joy. Look, don't our elves look pretty good? Well, goblins are also humanoids. The aesthetics are actually not much different from ours. So, the girls will sacrifice their lust. What's this called? Isn't it a beautifying trick? Of course, it's just a temptation. Safety measures must be taken. Demacia said triumphantly. Alice. Basaka. All players. Everyone was stunned. Eve, who was watching everything from high in the sky, choked and couldn't help sighing. This guy is indeed the most shameless human player in the game. Chapter 27. Ladies. Juvenile. Hearing Demacia's suggestion, the Oak Guardian's sight immediately changed. Basaka's eyes flashed with disappointment and disgust. The chosen one, I thought you were an upright warrior, but I didn't expect to be such a sinister villain. It's really the shame of the guardian of the world tree. Alice looked at him indifferently, her eyes getting colder, as if she was looking at a pile of harmful garbage. Open black lens bracket ding, the friendship between you and Barthaka is reduced by 40 points to hate, close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket ding, you and Alice Hayate's friendship is reduced by 40 points and maintains, disgust, close black lens bracket. Demacia looked at the system prompt bar that flickered in front of him, somewhat startled. Isn't it? Is this also bad for good impression? And the players also exploded. I'll go, this is too bad, right? What if there is danger? Although it's a game, the consequences. I can't imagine it. Demacia, you guys are definitely a single dog in reality, right? We deserve no girlfriend. Demacia. Li Mew didn't speak, he was thinking, suddenly his heart moved. Beauty plan. It's actually a good idea. The players were stunned. I'll go, do you think so too, Brother Mew? That's not good. Brother Mew, are you also a single dog? You can buy soy milk fritters while picking up your nose in the morning with big slippers. Li Mew. He coughed a few times and immediately said. No. Although it's a beauty trick, it doesn't have to be a risk for female players. Said, he looked up Demacia up and down, touched his chin and said. I remember, it seemed that someone had acquired the disguise skill. Demacia shuddered, and suddenly felt a cold back. This is a dense virgin forest. The huge trees cover the sky, and the lush bushes make the already difficult jungle more complicated. However, this is nothing to the Oak Guardian. Basaka walked in the forest, as if strolling in his back garden, and from left to right on his shoulders sat 4 elves wearing hemp robe and wooden armor. Behind him, followed by a sweaty German. Marcia. The 5 players are the special attack team selected by the players. In addition to Demacia, sitting on Basaka's shoulders are Li Mu, Cuckoo Bird, and 2 players named Bento and Xiao Shanmiao. Among several players, Li Mu and Xiao Shanmiao belong to the spell casting system, and Demacia, Bento and Cuckoo Bird belong to the power system. Originally, Li Mu's plan was composed of 5 players who were good at lurking, but because there were too few players with hidden skills, in the end, he had to step back and give up the original idea and form a relatively strong and complementary Dead Squad. Li Mu has 2 skills, healing minor injuries and winding vines. He is good at healing and controlling, and he is also the commander of the team. Xiao Shanmiao is a petite female player. She has a rare illusion skill disguise, which can change the appearance of the target within a certain period of time, lasting 20 minutes. Cuckoo Bird is a girl, but she has practiced taekwondo in reality and has strong melee combat ability. In addition, she also possesses the skill Sharp Ear, which can hear sounds from a long distance and can detect and observe. Ben is a silent male player. He doesn't have any hidden or detection skills, but he has a very strong detection ability. It is precisely this way that he can find the 9th level forest python in the early stage. As for Demacia, he has the 2 skills of whirlwind and unyielding, and he is a thorough violent output plus tank position. After everyone's research and decision, he will also play an important role of ridicule. 5 people are all level 10 players. After discussing the plan, they set off in the Barthaka, but the Oak Guard refused to board Demacia, and this guy could only follow behind. And other players watched their actions through live broadcast and waited for transmission. Yes, live. Although the time flow of Segu's world and Blue Star is different, this does not affect the players who log into the game to access the internet through the game system network. As for the live broadcast launched by the special attack team members on the internet, other players can naturally watch it through the system window. This is also a new gameplay discovered by players. It is a bit similar to the YY and QQ voices of earlier years. It is just a video version. When fighting wild monsters before, some players used this routine for individual reconnaissance. Eve was also amazed by the player's sorrows when he discovered it, so he also opened the live broadcast in the Godhead space and mixed into the audience. Arrived. Suddenly, the huge oak tree guard stopped. He knelt down, sent several people to the ground, and said, "It is less than 1 kilometer from Phylunqui. In order to prevent my identity from being discovered by the goblin priest, I will not continue to approach it. Do it yourself." After finishing speaking, he turned around without saying a word and hid in the forest. Demacia, who had finally followed up, was holding a tree breathlessly. He bent over and rubbed his sore knees, looked at the indifferent Basaka, and sighed. I said, "Why bother? Isn't it just an idea?" The feelings fell so much all at once, and the car didn't let me get on. "You don't want to look at what you make." Cuckoo Bird gave him a cold look. The live broadcast room was also full of players' ridicule. More running can exercise your body, and you can also increase 1 or 2 experience points, why not do it? Haha, Demacia, have you become negative with Barcelona? Puff. I remember that this guy used to show off his friendliness with Demacia, but he died with a backhand. Ha ha ha. Let the girl use beauty tricks to attract strangers, or the goblins that the arrogant elves always look down on. Only you can think of it. You deserve to be hated by the NPC of the good camp, ha ha ha. Ha ha ha, and finally the sarcasm fell on myself. Look forward to attracting blame for a while. Look forward to +1. Look forward to +2. Looking at the barrage passing by, Demacia's face turned green. Cuckoo Bird did not continue to sarcasm, she tilted her ears and listened quietly. Skill Sharp Ear Surgery. There are no other creatures nearby, she said after a moment. Investigated the surrounding lunches and shook his head. Several people listened, and they were relieved. Li Mu looked around, took out the set of instruments that Alice had given him to place the magic circle, and said, I think the terrain here is not bad. Let's clean it up. Let's make a formation. The distance of 1 kilometer is almost the same. If you get closer, the risk of exposure will increase. After finishing speaking, he glanced at Demacia and said with a slight smile. You guys start to prepare too. After we set up the magic circle, we will directly lure the goblins to try and see their strength. As soon as he heard Li Emu's words, Demacia suddenly felt like a frustrated ball, and saw him hiding aside fearfully, laughing a few times, and saying, Brother Mew, you guys, are you serious? Did you not propose the solution by Demacia? Xiao Shanmiao said, smiling and taking out a light green dress from behind. Hurry up and put it on, this is the kindly provided by Miss Alice. Seeing the little skirt, Demacia's face turned green. Fuck, are you serious? I really want to let me go for women's clothing. I'm talking about beauty, not handsome men. I'm a big man. No problem, Xiao Xian Miao's disfigurement technique was prepared for this, so I will make you invisible. Xiao Xian Miao smiled and said authentically. Demacia. I remember your house is not built yet, right? The players' camp construction team leader Cuckoo Bird asked lightly. Demacia. Do you really want female players to take risks? Box Lunch frowned. Demacia. Even the barrage in the live broadcast room is a lot more cheerful. Ha ha ha. Brave Demacia, you reading www.uakanshu.com. Hurry up and put on women's clothes and become a muscular girl. Quickly, you will be able to become stronger if you wear it. This is a great idea from you, ha 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 ha. Get on fast, or your home will be broken, ha ha ha. Demacia. Li Mu coughed twice and patted Demacia on the shoulder. Demacia, you go. Anyway, you have a lot of life, count the total of 8 sent by the quest, and it is a male, neither afraid of death nor afraid of being caught by goblins. It is less risky than letting girls take risks. That's too much. Ahem. Just in case you get caught suicide. Demacia. I'm going, can't I go? After speaking, he picked up the skirt crying. Don't take it off here, the holy light dazzles your eyes. Demacia. Ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha. In the live broadcast room, laughter completely overwhelmed the screen. Even Eve, who was watching the live broadcast, was happily watching, just watching and watching, his heart gradually felt a little sad. So good. I really want to have a body that moves freely. There are some things that I don't cherish when I have them, but when I lose them I realize that they are valuable. It's a pity that without enough divine power, Eve can't create an incarnation body that can take on her own soul. At this moment, Eve suddenly felt that the joy and noise in the live broadcast room was far away from him. So far, is like two worlds. Someday. He murmured in his heart. Chapter 28. Guapi, you are fooled. Phylunqui ruins. Green-skinned goblins were scattered everywhere. They were sitting together in twos and threes. Some were sleeping, some were boiling in a cauldron on a campfire, emitting an indescribable smell, and some gathered together. Playing with dirt. 4 elves and a human girl lie on tiptoe in a patch of grass not far away. It is the player's special attack team that lurks after the teleportation array is established. Looking at the ruins in the distance that are still unconcealed even if they collapsed, Xiao Xian Miao couldn't help but exclaim. This is Phylunqui. I don't know how beautiful the old city should be. Cuckoo Bird closed his eyes and listened carefully, his expression became a bit solemn. There are a lot of goblins. Except for the ones we saw, I can't tell how many more are hidden in the ruins. In addition, there are some powerful auras, most likely to be of the dark iron level, and one of them is aura. It's very cold and it makes me feel terrified. Hiss. Hearing the news, several selected candidates took a breath. Fortunately, the players did not swarm, otherwise I am afraid it will be destroyed in waves. Bento said solemnly. Li Mu lightly patted Demacia on the shoulder and said. Demacia, proceed according to plan. The 3 goblins playing dirt over there feel that they are not strong and poorly equipped. They shouldn't have level 10. It's up to you to bring the blame over. Quote. Demacia. He pulled out an ugly smile. May not go. No. The 4 people spoke in unison. Demacia. Hey, forget it, the wind is cold and the water is cold. Demacia gave up the struggle, and with his long hair that turned into a disguise, he stood up from the grass. The edge of the ruins. 3 goblins were sitting together, playing with the clods happily, making strange laughs of quack from time to time. Suddenly, a rock flew over from behind, not crooked or slanted, and hit one of the heads. Boom. After a while, the blood came out. The goblin that was hit was dumbfounded in an instant. I saw it stand up, looked around, and met a companion. The anger came up immediately, it made a weird cry, pop, it cut off the brain of the companion, and made the other party startled. Then the two goblins scrambled. Boom. Boom. Two more stones flew up, the head was very accurate, and it was in the middle of the heads of two scrambling goblins. And the third goblin stood up, his eyes widened, and pointed at the distance, ah. The two goblins were attracted by the voice of their companions, they stopped their movements and looked in the direction they were pointing. The ruins are dozens of meters away. An enchanting girl is leaning on an ancient tree, playing with her hair curling in one hand and stroking her thigh with the other. She saw the gazes from the three goblins, blinked at them, then licked her lips, and stretched out her hand to blow a kiss. The eyes of the three goblins straightened suddenly. At this moment, their simple brains have opened up the most complex calculations in goblin birth. Head plus two legs plus upright plus nice clothes equals human. Human plus XX plus XX equals woman. Woman equals offspring. Comma comma. Their eyes lit up suddenly. I saw them picking up their weapons, screaming and running towards the girl. And the girl turned around and ran toward the deep forest like a vigorous cheetah. A few goblins didn't notice anything wrong, they were like a hooked fish, falling tightly behind, running farther and farther. A few minutes later, the three goblins felt wrong. This woman seems to run too fast as a son of nature, spirit. At this moment, they have chased an open field, surrounded by lush bushes and woods. The girl in front of stopped, and saw, she turned around, showing a mean smile with a rough and joking voice. Guapi, you are fooled. As soon as S words fell, a light flashed across, she, turning into a red-haired exploded female elf Demacia. The three goblins were stunned when they saw this moment. Before they could react, several vines suddenly sprang out from all around and shot at the three goblins. Is Li Emu's ability to wind vines. Then, the cuckoo and the bento jumped out of the grass, forming a triangle with Demacia to surround the goblins. Fuck them. Demacia drew out the wooden knife he had hidden aside, and rushed up excitedly. The three goblins panicked first, then let out an angry howl, drew out their weapons and slashed towards the vine. Click. Under Li Emu's surprised gaze, the magic vine was cut by the goblin's scimitar, and the three players fought with the goblin. After the fight, the scene is a bit funny. Fuck. Sister Cuckoo Bird, you almost kicked me. Sorry, you blocked me. These goblins are so powerful. Wait, I seem to be hit. Cure minor injuries. How about magic support? Xiaoshan Miao magic support. I'm coming. Fuck, your fireball technique burned to me. Can you aim at it? Don't fight too fast. Save magic and physical strength, protect yourself. Wait for the opportunity to attack. We are so powerful, they can't consume us. When really caught in the battle, all plans were invalidated. Under the frantic attack of the three goblins, the five players appeared to be in a hurry. For a time, they were suppressed. Especially the three power lines fighting in close quarters. www.mtlnovel.com. If it weren't for the agile box lunches to fight the fire again and again, Demacia and the cuckoo would have been seriously injured. But even so, the three of them are struggling to support. Basaka hid in the forest not far away, watching all this with furrowed brows. It's a joke that 5 10th level chosen were beaten by 3 goblins of only 8th level. His voice was deeply disappointed. You need to know that goblins are originally synonymous with stupidity and weakness in the Segs continent. To use an analogy, it is like a collection of human prejudices against pigs and cockroaches on the blue star. In the continent of Segus, goblin is not only a term for species, but also a swear word. You goblin is the biggest mockery when angering intelligent creatures. Is the same, when Demacia proposes a method of seduction, Barsaka and Alice will be so disgusted. This is equivalent to letting humans decolorize on the blue star to lure wild boars and cockroaches, and there is still a risk of rollover. Mother Goddess, although they seem to be good at construction, they are not good at fighting. Why do you expect them so much? Basaka knew that Eve was also watching this battle, so he did not conceal his doubts. Eve, who was watching in the live broadcast room, let out a chuckle, and then his majestic voice resounded in Basaka's mind. It's not in a hurry, you just keep watching. Hearing Eve's answer, Basaka felt helpless, but still frowned and looked down. Is good, let the goblins kill their spirit, so as not to always be serious all day long. But gradually, the situation seemed to change faintly. Chapter 29. Macaw. After the initial rush, the players seem to be gradually familiar with the rhythm of the goblins. They no longer take the initiative to attack, but start passive defense, maintain their physical strength, and at the same time cooperate with each other better. Although a few players gradually became dazzled, they gradually mastered the initiative and switched from passive defense to active defense. But the goblins are gradually unable to hold on. Level 8 is after all level 8. Coupled with the inherent racial disadvantages, although they have richer combat experience, they are gradually losing energy. Finally, after 5 or 6 minutes of fighting between the two sides, the players finally started to counterattack. Their speed has slowed down. They are tired, good chance. Demacia zoom in. Unyielding. Whirlwind. Demacia roared, and first added an unyielding buff to himself, which immediately improved his defense and attack, and then displayed his powerful attack skill, Whirlwind. The small green skirt on his body was blown up by the whirlwind, revealing the vagueness under the skirt of the holy light. Accompanied by 3 sounds of pop, pop, and pop, the weapons in the hands of the 3 goblins were immediately knocked into the air. Go! Followed a roar, the lunchbox and the cuckoo bird swarmed up, and at the same time displayed his skills, taking advantage of the opportunity to pass the 2 goblins to the heart. And the 3rd goblin saw that the situation was bad, turned around and ran away, and then was entangled by a vine of Li Mu and turned into fly ash under a fireball of Xiao Xian Miao. The 3 goblins finally died. Their bodies were reduced to ashes under the operation of the war ritual, leaving only the ragged equipment. And 5 players received the system prompt message, and each of them gained a lot of experience points. At the same time, a new task reminder appeared in their system column: Destroy Goblins. 3. At the same time as the goblin died, Eve also felt 2 powers coming across the void. The weak one was the vitality of the goblin, and the strong one was the resentment of the elf souls, which were fed back to him, provides him with about 0.03 points of supernatural power. Several players slumped on the ground, panting heavily while receiving Li Mu's treatment. Finally kill them. I didn't expect these goblins to be so difficult. Bon Lunch, you were good at it just now. If it weren't for you, I would have to die once. Demacia collapsed on the ground, exhaling as he spoke. Box Lunch did not say a word, he nodded, and silently gathered the weapons left by the goblin. Seeing those weapons, Cuckoo's eyes lit up. These scimitars are good, sharper than our wooden knives. Haha, the first trophy. Hey, I didn't drop the ***** blood crystal, it's a pity. The players are twittering. Looking at the players who are in a good mood, Barthaka's mood is not so good. Just destroying 3 goblins is a waste of so much energy, what can I be proud of? Don't worry, you just keep watching. Eve smiled slightly and replied in his heart. Barthaka had no choice but to continue to spy. After some treatment, the player's injury finally recovered. 5 players gathered together and started a meeting. Li Mu's expression was a little serious, he sighed and said. Unexpectedly, just 3 goblins would be so difficult to deal with. It seems that our cooperation and actual combat ability need to be improved. Cuckoo Bird nodded. Identity. The battle in this game is too real, and their previous skills when facing weak wild monsters without intelligence, when facing goblins that are barely intelligent creatures, almost all are invalid. However, this experiment also proved that Demacia's strategy can be used. Although there are risks, the goblins have short legs, and it seems that no elves can run as fast. It is a wise choice not to enter Phylunqui directly. These are just the 3 weakest goblins. I can't imagine how powerful they are. War of attrition is still possible. We can only pick soft persimmons, lure the weak out first, gradually improve coordination and skills through battle, and wait until the strength is strong before going against those powerful goblins. Their staying power is very poor. As long as they survive the initial madness, it will be easier to fight later. They also seem to have some problems with their eyesight. If we use high attack speed skills when fighting, we may receive miraculous effects. Agree, I think other players can also be involved, but I want to remind everyone that it is best to have a team at level 10. If there is no team at level 10, it is best for 2 teams to act together. You can't use magic, otherwise it's too easy to accidentally hurt. Also, let everyone stay quiet, grow obscenely, and don't be stunned, and it's over if you attract all the goblins. It can be like this, attract more than a dozen at a time, and one person will lead the strangers together, and then lead them farther, and then each team will choose the target to fight. 1-to-1 must be defeated, and that group fight is enough. In a group fight, goblins are definitely not opponents. When we become stronger, we will counterattack. Agree. Agree. Quote. The discussion of the 5 players also passed to Barsaka's ears. Listening to their analysis, Barsaka felt slightly surprised. The mother asterisk is on. It seems that they are not without unity and discipline. Not to mention whether there is noble character of elves, but they are somewhat human-like, cunning and clever. Seduces and gangs up goblins, they can't figure it out. Listening to Basaka's sigh, www.mtlnovel.com, Eve shook his head. They were originally a group of humans in elven skins. After some discussion, the 5 players of the special attack team summed up their combat experience, made a simple strategy, and gave feedback to other players through the live broadcast room. The rest of the players who had been waiting in the camp also started to teleport through the built teleportation array. It didn't take long for dozens of players to appear in the forest. The group is open. I've been looking forward to it for a long time. I just saw my blood spurt in the live broadcast room. Demasia's movements are too stiff. If it were not for the box lunch boss, I think he would kneel just now. Looking at the excited players, the 5 pioneers quickly reminded. Don't get too excited, these goblins are not weak, don't capsize in the gutter. The players are quite optimistic. Haha, don't worry, it's just a gang fight. You can always beat one of 5. Besides, there are 3 perfect resurrections. The combat experience of this game looks so realistic. I don't know if I can use it in reality after being proficient. Is anyone going to provoke blame? Demacia, or you go again. Demacia. Someone's face turned black, and he justly refused. You are going to go, I won't go. A joke, he is a dignified man, women's clothing is enough. If you attract a stranger, our team's spoils can be divided among you. Our team can also. Demacia was silent for a few seconds, then turned to look at Xiao Xian Miao, who was snickering on the side, and said dumbly. Is there any magic power? Disguise, come on, I'm ready. Chapter 30. Chopping melons and vegetables. 1 kilometer away from the Phylunqui ruins, there are 21 dungeon groups composed of players, with a total of more than 90 people, waiting quietly. Demacia, who was bought by the loot, once again became Demacia, and took on the glorious task of attracting monsters. This time, he went a little deeper than the last time, and spurred more than a dozen goblins at once, and 3 of them reached level 10 and were elite goblins. More than a dozen goblins wielding machetes and wooden sticks chased behind him with excitement. Not only that, there are also a few goblins holding bows and arrows, but when they plan to shoot arrows, they are stopped by elite goblins. They want female human races that are intact, and it is best to catch them alive without injury. And this idea of goblin also made Demacia's lure plan smoother. He once again lured the goblins to the clearing before, and then stopped. When a dozen goblins thought the human they were chasing was tired from running, suddenly, under the command of an offensive, nearly 100 tall figures emerged from the surrounding grass. Jing. Fairy. A dozen goblins were stunned instantly. It's a goblin. The goblin is here. 1, 2, 3, a total of 18. Everyone has 1 team. The 3 level 10 elves each have 2 teams to deal with them. Come on. Group them up. The elves were red-eyed, panting, and seemed to fall into a certain state of excitement. They wielded wooden knives and screamed and rushed up, for fear of being snatched by someone else after a second. More than a dozen goblins were completely stunned. Where is a bunch of crazy elves? Where can so many elves emerge from the fairy forest? Haven't they all left? Wait, are these guys really that bunch of tall, elegant and reserved long ears? The hunting asterisk is on top, are they crazy? Goblins want to escape, but they have been surrounded by layers of players. Quick! The caster separates them with control skills. Attack magic is fine too. Outflank. Outflank. If there is one over there, just run away. Fuck. Don't use area damage. Almost accidentally injured an allied army. Under the interference of long-range magic, the goblins are gradually separated, and they begin to welcome the besieging teams of players. If the previous 5 pioneer players struggled against 3 goblins, then more than 90 people against 18 greenskins, the other party is completely giving away food. With predecessors' strategies, players have completely entered a state of cooperation and confrontation. Each team of players has found their goal. They take turns. You take a knife, I take a knife, and you run away without getting entangled. Goblins want to chase, they use magic to harass. Goblins want to escape, just use control skills to stop. Even if the goblins are experienced in fighting, they can't consume the madness of the players. After more than 10 minutes, the last goblin was hacked to death by the players, and the players only paid a dozen minor injuries. The price of death. The one that died was unfortunately killed by the magic of the friendly forces. Even Li Mu and others were stunned by the fighting power erupted by the players. I'll go, you are so cruel. The players are still thinking. This scene is a bit bloody, but it's so cool. Not enough, not enough, a dozen of them have too little experience. I just slashed. Demacia, you can bring me here again. Demacia choked. Go, go, and you will be given the spoils. In case you drop the blood crystal of the gods, you will get a share of the rewards obtained from the goddess. The players said again. When Demacia heard it, her expression suddenly became solemn. You have to do what you say. If you go. I saw him shout loudly, played his little green skirt, and rushed towards Phylunqui again. After a while, more than a dozen goblins screamed and chased them. Fight! Start again. In this way, the players started the task of spawning monsters near Phylunqui. And with the constant fighting, their cooperation is getting better and better. At first, one team dealt with 1, but later became one team dealt with 2. Later, even a level 10 elite goblin, a level 10 player squad can play back and forth with 3 of them. Perhaps each of them is still inferior to the other in strength, but the battle has become more and more rhythmic. The players have a clear division of labor, some attract targets, and some sneak attacks on the side. Everyone has a knife, I have a knife, and I don't love fighting, so the goblins are killed by a single knife. Not only that, the players tasted the sweetness of experience points, and replaced them with the relatively sharp scimitars in the hands of the goblins. The more they fought, the smoother they fought, and the faster they fought. There were even more than a dozen level 9 players who directly upgraded. As the goblins continued to fall, the second blood crystal of God was also discovered. God's blood crystal. It is the God's blood crystal. Our team found it. The player holding a pale green crystal aloft is excited and authentic. Fuck. Oh Huang. Which monster dropped? As an elite goblin. The lucky player replied excitedly. It was a hapless man who had just collected the blood crystal of the gods from the forest and was about to return to the lair to hand it over to the priest, but was unfortunately seduced by Demacia halfway. Elite goblin. Upon hearing this, all players' eyes lit up. Is it a rare item that can only be dropped by elite goblins? The drop rate is so low. More than 90 people came together. This killed the goblins of Xiaobai. The elites were also 20, and only one piece was dropped. Bah, it's this kind of cheating rate again. Planning 4 horses first. You guys will be content. When I used to play the online game Xuanjing, the drop rate was really touching. The drop rate of more than 20 elite goblins is already very good. Follow him, get some more elite goblins. Today I don't believe that I can't get the blood of my blood. What about the taunting tank? Where is the taunting tank? Hey Demacia, go to attract strangers. Bring in more, attract more elites. The players shouted. Demacia. Looking at the players who are getting more and more passionate and fighting more and more powerful at the same time, Basaka, who secretly observes, is finally moved. The unity and enthusiasm of this group of chosen in front of goblins far exceeded his imagination. Not only that, their speed of progress is incredible, and their enthusiasm for fighting is also incredible. What is even more touching is that although they are not believers under the crown of the Mother God, they are willing to fight for the goddess without fear of everything. At this moment, Barthaka has a faint respect for the players. The mother ***** is on top, and your wisdom makes Basaka awe. Reading www.uakanshu.com. I finally understand why you want to call them. This group of chosen people may not be born fighters, but they have unlimited potential to become a powerful army. Although they are not your believers, they are more fanatical than ordinary believers. Quote. However, they don't have a trace of chivalry. Moreover, they are a little greedy, even a little embarrassing. Seeing the players who almost fought for the scimitar dropped by the goblin, Basaka shook his head helplessly. Eve is quite understandable. The wooden knives he provided to the players were all shoddy products, and although the quality of the goblin machete was not very good, at least it was snatched from the human caravan, or made of metal, and the sharpness was better. In the eyes of players, this is better equipment. And feeling the feedback brought by the players from killing the goblins, Eve's mood became more and more wonderful. I have accumulated 1.2 supernatural power points. He thought happily. Maybe due to occupying the holy land of the elves for a long time. The grievances of the elven souls reported by the goblins after being killed are quite considerable. In less than half a day, Eve's investment in making the player's body will be paid back. If you add the new blood crystals discovered by the players, he has already begun to earn. Although it is still far away, I am finally one step closer to having an avatar. Seeing his divine power value close to 13 points, thinking about the goal of 100 points, Eve comforted himself. His immovable background board is already a bit tired. The players' battle continued, and with the disappearance of a large number of goblins in the emerald, the goblin priests in the ruins finally realized that something was wrong. Subscribe to Chinese Novel Audiobook YouTube channel Chapter 31, Goblin High Priest. This is a dilapidated temple. Describes the symbol of the Mother of Nature and the elven stone stele that has long been destroyed by a sharp weapon and has been splashed with blood. And the idol that originally belonged to the goddess was smashed and replaced with a wooden male wearing a leather jacket and holding a battle axe and a long bow. That is Ural, the of winter and hunting. Under the statue of, an old hunched goblin is kneeling on his knees. It was wearing a shabby mage robe snatched from a human caravan, and a nondescript felt hat on its head. In front of it, there was a crystal shining with pale green light. The great of winter and hunting, this is the third blood crystal of the found this month by the servants. There are only 7 servants to save the minimum amount of 33 sacrifices, and then sacrifice to you together. Quote. It crouched, its eyes were muddy, the wrinkles on its face were almost carved into its bones, and its expression was fanatical and religious. Because Ullr's deity is located in the celestial realm, a sacrifice that crosses the 2 realms at a time requires a lot of energy, so in order to save divine power, he can only let his subordinates collect enough tributes and then concentrate on sacrifices, and usually do something with believers at most. Simple communication. Following the prayers of the goblin, the faintly emits a golden light, gently brushing its body. For an instant, the old goblin felt that his old body seemed to be much younger. Praise the of winter and hunting. The old goblin was slightly overjoyed and buried his head deeper. After praying to the gods, the old goblin stood up. He straightened the felt hat on his head, and then carefully picked up the skull staff hidden under his body, which was inlaid with huge orbs, and wiped it carefully in his arms as if it were treasures, and then satisfactorily walked out of the dilapidated temple. The old goblin's name is Gollum, and he is an 11th level Black Iron Goblin priest. However, Gollum prefers to call himself the High Priest, because among the goblin tribe entrenched in the Phelang Kui ruins, its strength is the strongest. The other 3 goblin priests are not its opponents and bow to it. Proclaimed. The reason why it is so powerful is not because of how strong its fascination is, but because it has already experienced adventures before being incorporated by Ural, and has obtained a staff and became a rare goblin spellcaster. Not only that, it also masters mysterious undead magic. Is also relying on undead magic, it can suppress the other 2 goblin priests who are also 11th level. However, it is too old. If it develops normally, its lifespan is no more than 3 years. Fortunately, the emergence of Ullr gave it hope. This great has promised that if it can collect 33 blood crystals of the world tree within this year, it will give it a new life. Gulu's luck is not bad. For thousands of years, the blood crystallization of the world tree left in the fairy forest has been almost forgotten. As long as you work hard, it is not difficult to find it. With the power of the ethnic group, it has already accumulated a full 26 in just a few months. So, strength is the foundation of this world. Guru stroked his skeleton staff, muttering to himself intoxicated. Walking out of the temple, Gulu came to the streets of the Fei Leng Kui ruins. Just looking at the empty ruined wall, its old brows gradually wrinkled. Why are so many people missing? Guru looked around, and saw a goblin slept. It snorted and walked over, kicking the opponent awake. The kicked goblin was furious, and he drew his stick to fight back, but when he saw the person who came, his face instantly changed, like a well-behaved little chicken, lying on the ground, while, he whimpered and kissed his toes. A trace of contempt flashed in grunting eyes. It looks down on these people with low IQ. In its view, although they have the same appearance, they are completely two species. This group of low-energy wastes can't even talk about connecting words. However, in order to achieve one's own goals, the power of the race is still indispensable at this moment. Thinking of this, it kicked the goblin on the ground and asked, "Where are the others? Why do you lose so much all at once?" After hearing the grunting words, a daze flashed across the goblin's face, and then suddenly realized something. It yelled, "Ak! Huh! You said they saw human women passing by outside the ruins. Did they arrest people?" Gulu frowned. The goblin listened and nodded repeatedly. After getting confirmation from the other party, Gulu's eyes narrowed slightly. Human women. The human kingdom closest to the fairy forest is also hundreds of kilometers away. The caravan of humans will only pass through this place in summer. Where do human women come from? This group of trash, I'm afraid it's not because I want females to be crazy. It shook the answering goblin away, and then walked towards the edge of Phailunkwi. As he progressed, Gulu's face became more and more gloomy. Because it found that the number of goblins in the ruins has decreased more than it thought. I'm afraid at least 200 people have ran away. It gritted its teeth. While Gulu was on his way, there was a commotion in the southwest of the Phailunkwi ruins. He raised his brows, and walked over calmly. The southwest entrance of Phailunkwi. Demacia, who has changed his appearance, is leaning forward here as always. Not only that, in order to attract more elite monsters, he boldly walked into the ruins. Come on, you little cuties. Demacia sneered in her heart as she looked at the goblins gradually attracted to her. But suddenly, a sense of crisis originating from instinct came to mind. Demacia's heart tightened, feeling as if she was being stared at by a vicious snake. The perception of the elf's body is very keen. Demacia turned her head almost subconsciously and looked in a certain direction. And when he saw the source of the sense of crisis, he suddenly felt that his scalp was going to be numb. www.mtlnovel.com. On a dilapidated stone monument in the ruins, a goblin shrouded in a dark robe was cold. Looked at him coldly. Is the goblin high priest Guru. The eerie and terrifying aura on him can make Demacia feel clearly even at a distance of tens of meters. Wipe, unlucky, I definitely hooked the boss. Feeling the opponent's sight, Demacia secretly groaned. I slipped away. Without hesitation, he turned around and fled. Human women chuckled. Seeing the other party's first glance, it recognized that this so-called woman seemed to have applied some kind of disguise magic. Could it be a mercenary? Gulu's heart has some guesses. However, since he found him, he didn't plan to let him run away. 200 missing goblins are not a decimal. Definitely want to catch this nasty bastard. Guru gritted his teeth in his heart. It is not worried about whether there is any hidden mercenary power behind the other party. Since the other party does not dare to appear in front of it openly, it means that the other party knows that its strength is not as good as it. Even dealing with goblins has to rely on insidious means, which shows the other party's guilty conscience. Thinking of this, it waved the huge skeleton staff decisively, and an extremely cold energy radiated from the orb on the staff. Along with the weird energy fluctuations, the big hands of the skeleton stretched out from Demacia's feet and grabbed his legs severely. At the same time, Eve's soul, who was watching the player's live broadcast in the Godhead space, was shocked, and suddenly felt a heart originating throbbing slowly emerging. Chapter 32. World Boss. What happened? Eve's heart jumped. He quickly turned off the live broadcast and left the Godhead space, throwing his consciousness into reality. But at this moment, the feeling of throbbing still exists. More precisely, it seems to be an inexplicable call. This is the first time Eve has met in this situation. Unlike the prayers I heard before, this throbbing is an inexplicable sense of familiarity, but at the same time it seems to be mixed with other things, or emotions. Sadness, pain, despair. This feeling makes Eve very uncomfortable. After a moment of contemplation, he let his mind go empty. And after the spirit calmed down, he finally found the source of this throbbing. To the northeast. Eve's heart moved, and she looked at somewhere in the fairy forest. That direction is the direction where the players concentrate. What did they trigger? Eve frowned in consciousness. It's not right. I just watched more than 90 players in the live broadcast room. They didn't do anything extraordinary. He vetoed his ideas again. But suddenly, Eve thought of something. Do not. Wrong. There is another player who did not follow him just now. Eve realized someone he had ignored, so he quickly returned to the Godhead space again and went straight to the Blue Star Network channel. In the pale green space of Godhead, around the blue light cluster that symbolizes the Blue Star Network world, there are 300 smaller photons constantly flickering and revolving around it. This is the connection channel between Eve and 300 players, and it is also an important part of the game system network. And as soon as he came here, Eve also felt the inexplicable call. He lifted his spirits, and instantly found the source of his throbbing, a gleaming photon. This is Demasia's one. Did he encounter something? He should be in Fey Lenqui. Eve's heart jumped. He did not hesitate. He immediately separated a ray of spiritual consciousness, touched the connection channel of the other party, and instantly, see, where Demacia was. Fuck. What the asterisk is this? On the edge of the emerald green, Demacia looked at the withered palms emerging from the ground, her face turned green. Undead magic. He took a deep breath and roared. Unyielding. The tank skill is activated, the defense and attack power are instantly increased, and Demacia's power is instantly doubled. He tried his best to kick away the bone hand that grabbed him, and then saw Yazzie ran. Wipe. Priest, it's definitely a goblin priest. It must be the cuckoo bird who said that the breath she perceives is cold and terrifying, so let's get rid of it now. Demacia cursed while running. And when he used the skill, the disguise technique applied to his body suddenly broke, revealing his original appearance. Elf. In the distance, Guru looked at Demacia's back, a little startled. He thought he would be a human, but he didn't expect it to be a male elf. But how can male elves pretend to be human females? What about the reservation and arrogance of his elves? Wait, his strength is so weak. This is the first time Guru has seen an adult elf who doesn't even have the power of black iron. Seems to have thought of something, it squinted slightly. Elf. I haven't killed an elf yet, hee hee. Guru smiled and licked some chapped lips. The race that the Lord of Winter and Hunting hates the most is the elves. If I can catch this elven and sacrifice it with the blood crystals of the gods, I will definitely please him. Thinking of this, it waved the skeleton staff again. And with its movements, the orb on the staff immediately released deep purple energy, transforming into a humanoid skeleton undead, more than a dozen frames, each with the strength of the 10th peak. But even if so many undead skeletons were summoned, Golem still seemed to be able to do well, and it seemed that there was not much consumption at all. Catch him. It ordered. Upon receiving the order, the undead made a creaking noise and chased Demacia with their teeth and claws. Feeling the gloomy wind behind him, Demacia subconsciously looked back, and at this look, she suddenly freaked out. Fuck. This Nima is really an 11th level priest. This summoning level is too exaggerated. Are you going to hang up? Scolded the dog secretly in his heart, and Demacia ran back with all her strength. However, just after running 2 steps, he hesitated for a moment, and then quickly changed direction. No. This NPC is a bit awkward. If you can't bring them back to fight, the group will be destroyed. Let's pull the monster away. If it doesn't work, commit suicide. Demacia murmured. He still has the morals of not cheating on his teammates. In case the teleportation array is destroyed by the opponent, the mission is over. The agility of the elves is indeed very high. After the burst of power to escape, Demacia shook off the undead for a while. Want to escape? Squinted his eyes, sneered with his staff, and ran after him. From its point of view, the end of this bold elf is doomed. He will surely become the sacrifice of the true god. At this moment, Eve's sight was also cast on Demacia. Undead. Eve was taken aback as he looked at the skeletons chasing after Demacia. Then in an instant, his mood sank. It's the undead of the elves. Eve made a judgment. The skeletons of the elves are very similar to humans. Generally speaking, it is difficult to distinguish them. However, as the ruler of elves, he immediately recognized him when he saw each other. At this moment, he finally knew what that inexplicable throbbing was. Someone enslaved the undead of the elves in the place covered by him. It would be strange if Eve, the master of the elves, didn't react at all. And when Eve saw the grunt enslaving the undead, her mood became even worse. Do you believe in the goblin priests of Ural? Eve's voice is very cold, and he has already sentenced the opponent to death in his heart. But at the same time, a trace of doubt rose in his mind. An 11th level goblin, how can such a big magic power enslave so many undead spirits? Although the undead spirits it summoned were only level 10, the number was too exaggerated. Not only that, Eve could feel that it had not fully stimulated its power. And when Eve saw the radiant staff in Golem's hand, she suddenly had some associations. www.mtlnovel.com is the power of that staff is weird. After thinking about the reason, Eve calmed down. He watched frantically chasing the Demacian goblin priest, and suddenly laughed. Hee. Elf undead. If this goblin enslaves other undead, plus its level 11 strength, maybe the players really can't beat it, but is it an undead spirit? The wooden knives made by Eve for the players have a purifying effect. As the master of the elves, the weapons he made are the best for purifying the souls of the elves. Also, the players have also practiced their troops almost, and the number of perfect resurrections is not very useful, just try the effect. Thinking of this, Eve mobilized her supernatural power again and waved a big hand. At the same moment, a new game system prompt appeared in the vision of all players, and the entire system flashed red. Open black lens bracket ding, close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket warning. Warning. Close black lens bracket. The player, Demacia, triggers the world boss. The player, Demacia, triggers the world boss. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket world boss mission open, close black lens bracket. Task object. Goblin undead priest, level 11, black iron lower rank. Task objective. Kill the goblin undead priest and sacrifice the undead staff to the goddess Eve. Task reward. Exclusive title, Goblin Slayer, 3 perfect resurrection times, a large amount of experience and contribution. Task reminder. The weapon given by the goddess has a blessing effect, which can increase the damage to the undead. Open black lens bracket brave chosen one, charge for the honor of the goddess and the elves. Close black lens bracket. The players were stunned first, and then suddenly boiled. Chapter 33. Fuck it. 33. Do it. I wipe. World boss. What kind of European luck is Demacia? Isn't he always unlucky? The rewards are so rich, the exclusive title Goblin Slayer. There are also 3 perfect resurrection times, a lot of experience points and contributions. I'm only level 11 short of hundreds of experience. Me too. Me too. The players suddenly felt as if they were beaten up with blood, one by one, like a wolf and a tiger, their eyes brightened. In online games, the world boss, which is an elite mission that is done together in full server, can always be a profitable and cost-effective transaction. How did Demacia run farther and farther with the boss? At this time, someone found that the red dot on the minimap moved in a strange direction. I'm going, won't I be so scared that I can't choose the way? It may also be thinking about protecting the teleportation circle. Suddenly, as if he realized something, somebody's expression changed slightly. No, he must kneel by himself. If he dies, the boss will get out of the battle, and the mission will be yellow if he fails. Fuck, it's really possible. It makes sense. Let's go quickly. Go and go. Get the world boss. The players analyzed the situation in a few words, and decided to leave immediately, for fear that the boss would run away. Let's go, let's go. Go to the world boss. Everyone, put on wooden knives and wooden staffs. The task hints that there is a damage bonus. Wait, notify the group of people in the camp, so that they can also quickly take over all the tasks, come and get a damage and a world boss experience or something. This is the first world boss. For a moment, the entire player army ran like a huge machine. Nearly 100 elves carried the captured scimitars and bows behind their backs, replaced them with initial weapons, and rushed toward the red dot on the small map. After countless battles, they have little experience, and when they acted at this moment, they even had a faintly compelling evil spirit. At the same time, there are countless camp players who have received the news, copying the guise and rushing from the teleportation array in excitement. They have accepted the task, planning to take a share of the damage, and they are all excited. For a time, 300 heavenly chosen people moved all the way. Basaka, who was observing in secret, looked at the group of chosen who suddenly seemed crazy, and the whole person was stunned. The mother is here, what happened to them? The goblin priest has appeared, and he is still a powerful goblin priest who has enslaved countless elven souls. I told them about this. Looking at the players as if they were playing chicken blood, Eve's mood was a little slow, so he explained in Basaka's mind by the way. The goblin priest who enslaved the souls of the elf. Hearing these words, Barcelona immediately became angry. Evil and depraved goblin, this is the biggest insult to the mother god. He wished he would fly over and slap this bold guy to death. However, thinking of the one behind the goblin, I had to forcibly suppress my thoughts. No. I can't destroy the plan under the crown of the mother god. Huh. Wrong. And many more. Suddenly, Basaka's mind turned around. He stood up from the woods, looked at the players violently running in a certain direction, and said in shock. Master Mother, you mean, this group of heavenly chosen ones are going to kill the goblin priests. The goblin priest who can enslave the souls of the elf, even if Basaka hasn't seen the opponent, he can guess that the opponent's strength is definitely not weak. At least for the chosen, this is definitely a challenge. They are not believers of the Mother Goddess, but when the majesty of the Mother Goddess is challenged, this group of heavenly chosen people do not hesitate to take the initiative and move forward. Listening to the players' slogans of, Chong. For the elves. For the goddess. At this moment, Basaka was a little moved. Mother God is on the top, although this group of heavenly chosen people are cunning and greedy, but at the same time they also have such a sincere and reliable moment to defend the Lord Mother Goddess. Mother God, your choice is really far-sighted. Thinking of the previous prejudice against the chosen candidates, Basaka felt that maybe he should get to know them again. Not only that, when Basaka saw the players' red eyes and the slightly distorted expression of excitement, his eyes changed again. As if, what they greet is not a fierce battle, but a carnival. Even if they are not real warriors, they are real warriors. Recalling the various battles of the previous chosen, at this moment, Basaka could not help but sigh. The mother is on top, your wisdom and vision make me ashamed. The enthusiasm of this group of heavenly chosen people for fighting is surprising, far more than ordinary elves. This is also the quality that the peace-loving elves lack on the road to rise. Mother God, you are right. I think one day they will lead the elves to rise and stand on the Saga's continent again. Dense forest. Demacia looked at the system prompt in his vision, and the whole person was shocked. Is this luck or bad luck for me? Looking back at the undead coming closer and closer behind him, Demacia's whole body is not well. I'll go, do you want to chase so hard? He took a deep breath and speeded up again. Since it's a world boss, go around. Brother Mew and the others will definitely rush over when they get the system news. I can't die before that. If I get out of the battle, the boss returns and fails the mission and the mission fails. Quote. Demacia changed the attention of Yingguai suicide. And the new goal is certain, he changed direction and started to circle. Gulu was surrounded by the undead, sitting on the shoulders of a tall skeleton, followed closely behind Demacia. Hee. Want to procrastinate. Looked at the sweaty elf, his eyes were full of mockery. Or, are you waiting for your companion? Now, Gulu is 100% sure that there is absolutely some power hidden behind this elf. However, possessing undead spells, it is never afraid to fight with less. Although its undead have no wisdom, www.mtlnovel.com, they are numerous and painless. I don't know what death and fear are. They are a fearless weapon in gang fights. And it doesn't think the opponent is really strong, otherwise it would have hit the door early. This is an opportunity, I want to see who is behind it. There are elves involved. I can't make it, I can catch some big fish this time. It intends to take the opportunity to force the opponent out. With the continuous running, Demasia's physical strength is also rapidly decreasing. Although he turned off his fatigue, this physical burnout buff still made his mobility worse and worse. Finally, he seemed to finally be unable to run, and gradually stopped. Can't you run? Gulu jumped off the shoulders of the undead and looked at Demacia with a sneer. With a wave of its hand, more than a dozen level 10 undead swarmed and surrounded Demacia. Demacia turned his head, panting and wiping the sweat from his head, but his expression did not show a trace of tension or despair. A surprise flashed in Guru's eyes. You are not afraid. Demacia looked at the goblin priest dressed up by the mage, and suddenly smiled, showing white teeth. What are you afraid of? He chuckled and spit. Lao Tzu's reinforcements are here. As soon as S voice fell, there were shouts of excitement all around. It's the world boss. It's the world boss. Kill. Don't let it run. For the elves. For your highness Eve. Down with the goblins. Do it. Chapter 34. Crazy Elf. With a loud shout, countless figures wearing linen robes and wooden armor and wielding wooden knives and staff emerged from the jungle in all directions. Goblin High Priest Gollum was taken aback by this excitement shout. It raised its head, and after seeing the tall figures clearly, it suddenly lost his voice. Elf. Winter and the asterisk of hunting are on. Where are so many elves popping up in the elven forest? Didn't they move around long ago? Gulu is about to flee subconsciously. Without him, this is an inherent concept for thousands of years. Even if the elves have fallen, the average elves are more powerful than black iron. And it is a little goblin, even if it encounters an adventure and becomes a priest, it definitely can't do dozens or hundreds of elves. But as soon as the idea of escaping emerged, it was quickly extinguished by itself. Huh. Wrong. Gulu's heart moved. If there were so many powerful elves, then its race would have been driven out of the elven ruins. Thinking of this, Gulu took a closer look. This look made it feel at ease. These elves are all rookies who have not even reached the strength of professionals. For an instant, Gulu thought about the cause and effect. Yes, the disappearance of the goblins of the ethnic group must be theirs. But then, the old goblin became more confused. Where did so many elves that don't even have level 11 pop up? It used that limited brain capacity to think about it. Don't understand. Then it didn't think about it anymore, but became eager to try. Forget it, the asterisk of winter and hunting is on. No matter where you came from, you will be unlucky when you meet me. Give your lives to the crown of the true God, and I will surely receive his reward. Destroy so many elves, you will surely get the reward of the gods. Although the elves are powerful, they are not a martial race. Peace-loving, their combat effectiveness at the same level has always been weak. And this group of elven rookies who don't even have level 11, in Gollum's view, are afraid that they are not as good as a group of level 10 goblins. This level of enemy is more than enough to deal with by one person. Ha ha, I'm afraid the elves will rush away as soon as they are injured. No, maybe they will be scared to flee when they see their undead army. Thinking of this, Gulu sneered and waved his staff. Purple and black energy was released from the skeleton staff. In a blink of an eye, more than a dozen undead skeletons were released. Destroy them. Don't let one go. Guru ordered. Upon receiving Guru's instructions, the undead drew out the bone knives and rushed towards the elves with their teeth and claws. I wipe it, it's really undead magic. The players who rushed over were taken aback and stopped for a while. The goblin high priest looked at the wide-eyed players, feeling even more proud. Ha ha. Is this scared? The appearance of the skeleton undead is indeed terrifying, and the undead it summons is even more special, and its breath of death can even erode the soul of the weak. No creature will not be afraid of 3 points after seeing its army. Yes, this is the power of death, this is the power of the necromancer. Feeling the surging energy in the staff, Guru looks intoxicated. Be afraid. Run away. Then enjoy the chase of the undead. But then, the elves, words made it slightly startled. Fuck, so realistic. It really scared me. It is a virtual reality game with 100% realism. The special effects of undead magic are so awesome. This skeleton undead looks so cool. The elves looked at the undead who had only been summoned, extremely excited, but not a trace of fear. They are not afraid. Their souls are not affected by the breath of death. Stunned. And then, its expression became contemptuous again. Ha ha. It seems that I still don't know the power of the undead, and I don't know that I will be gradually eroded. Or really a group of rookies who have never seen the world. You know nothing about the power of the undead. Soon, you will see what a real undead army is. What is life better than death? Thinking of this, Gollum waved his staff again to maximize his strength. In an instant, more than a dozen undead skeletons were summoned. Countless undead gathered together, exuding a strong breath of death, and the temperature in the forest dropped a bit for a while. Feeling the power of the undead, the goblin high priest is extremely proud. It wants to use an overwhelming advantage to let these rookies know how terrible death is. Fuck. Called again. Quickly appraise your strength. Boss is level 11, mobs are level 10. There are mobs guarding the boss, fight the mobs first. Clear the mobs. The one with power comes first, the one who casts spells supports behind. A team of people dealt with 2 skeletons, and the teams at full level were waiting for the opportunity to attack the boss. Look for weaknesses and attack mechanisms. Can't let it summon again. The dead hurry up from the resurrection point. The elves chanted the words that Gulu couldn't understand, and also started to act. To the goblin high priest's expectation, no elves chose to escape. On the contrary, they became more and more excited. Saw them brandishing wooden knives and rushed towards its undead army. The 2 forces immediately fought together. Blood was splattered. Level 10 undead is indeed terrifying. Although the players have gone through a certain amount of training, they are still not opponents. The first group of people in the battle before the blink of an eye were seriously injured and fell to the ground under the attack of the undead. Looking at the elves who died and wounded in an instant, the goblin high priest couldn't help but sneer. Hee hee, it's really a bunch of fools to fight the dead. It can almost foresee the shock and rout of the elves. The population of the elves is already sparse. From Gulu's point of view, they cannot accept excessive casualties. It believed that once a few people died, the elves would start to flee. But then, an unexpected scene happened. The elves who fell to the ground were struggling to stand up again, each of them extremely excited, but turned a blind eye to the bleeding wounds on their bodies. Especially male elves. They brandished their weapons, as if it was not themselves who were wounded and bleeding, yelling and continuing to greet the undead. Guru does not have a game system to harmonize some unharmonious pictures. Therefore, in its eyes, the battle is extremely terrifying. It saw that some elves were chopped off a leg, but still did not move back, but hopped and hopped with a wooden knife to continue to chop. www.mtlnovel.com. It saw some elves were blown to pieces by their companions. Magic, he lost his arm, but he just turned around and cursed, throw the goods on time, then turned and rushed into the battlefield again. It even saw an elf stabbed through the abdomen by an undead, and the intestines were hanging outside, shaking, but the other party seemed to have a general sense of taste, while laughing ha ha ha, while fighting the undead skeleton. You have a stab, and I have a stab. So crazy, I don't care about my injuries and the gradual loss of vitality. Every elf who walked toward death has a face full of refreshment and joy. At most, he dropped an unexpected sentence, fuck me, then turned his eyes and closed his breath. They also don't care about the life and death of their companions. No one feels sad for the death of their companions. They seem to have only enemies in their eyes. More than that, some elves will laugh at their companions when they see the unfortunate death of their companions, and put away his equipment. Gulu looked stunned. What the asterisk is going on with these elves? Will they not hurt? Did they have no feelings? Aren't they afraid of death? No, they really are not afraid of death. Gulu even saw an elf yelling, and took the initiative to pounce on the bone knife of the undead. After being stabbed to the heart, he clung to the undead tightly, vomiting blood to his companion. Call out. I grab this bone frame, take the opportunity to tear it down. At this moment, Gulu was completely stunned. It shivered abruptly and murmured. Crazy. It must be crazy. These elves must be crazy. Chapter 35. The Collapsed High Priest. As for. Gulu wanted to ask these elves, as for. If it were them, it would have escaped a long time ago, so why should they die continuously? Are these still those elves who claim to be elegant and noble and love life? Are these still the group of peaceful, conservative elves? Guru swears, this is the craziest and most incomprehensible elf it has ever seen in its entire life. No, it's wrong. This is the craziest intelligent creature it has ever seen in its life. Not afraid of death, not afraid of pain, in order to destroy the enemy and even willing to die together. For a moment, Gulu even suspected that these elves were high-level undead in elven skins. Too frightening. Is really terrible. Although their strength is not strong, but they are not afraid of pain or death, so that the old goblin priests who have lived all their lives feel chills in their hearts. Not only that, Gulu thought that this group of elves would be wiped out soon, but to his surprise, this group of elves killed one, and one would come again soon, as if they could never be killed. Of course, this is also because of race. He can't distinguish the appearance of the elves very well, and he can't see that many people have returned after death. However, Gulu also noticed that after these elves die, their bodies will slowly disappear. Seeing this incomprehensible scene, Gulu's eyes widened. The devil, they must be the devil. Its hands holding the staff were shaking slightly, wondering if it had hallucinations. However, the falling undead conveyed a cruel reality to him. All this is not an illusion at all. This is also the point that makes Gulu gradually feel bad. The undead he summoned, after being wiped out, were supposed to be transformed into pure energy and returned to the staff, but this time they broke contact with him one after another, as if they were really wiped out. As the number of undead continues to decrease, Gulu finally started to panic. It raised its head and glanced at the elven army, and found that there were still so many people, or that it was faintly more. There were just over 100 names just now, but now it looks like almost 300. Not only that, but their power seems to be stronger. There are still dozens of level 10 elves in the perception just now, but after a while, I guessed it, and found that the elves that reached the level of 10 might be broken. Is there any more powerful elves coming? Gulu was shocked. The **** of winter and hunting is on. Is this the elves from all over the world running over? There was a hint of retreat in its heart. With the battle, although countless elves were killed, for some reason, Golem's staff did not capture new souls. Instead, the undead he summoned were constantly being consumed. Feeling the scarce energy in the staff of the dead, Gulu finally made up his mind. It gritted its teeth, glanced bitterly at the elven army, turned around and left. The remaining dozen undead were also summoned by it, got rid of the elves, and flocked to them to leave. Seeing that the goblin high priest wanted to leave, the elves were refreshed. It's going to escape. There must be no blue. A mage who has no magic power is just a dish if his level is not high. Grab it. Don't fall short, let it recover from the battle. The elves let out an angry roar and chased after them with red eyes. In an instant, they became more radical. Under the unbelievable gaze of Guru, countless elves pounced on the undead and chose to die together. In a splendid magic, more than a dozen undead skeletons collapsed under the burial of dozens of elves. And more elves brandished their weapons, rushing towards Golem as if they were hunting down their father's enemies. It is already alone. Looking at the desperate elves, Gulu was about to collapse. As for you, it ran away, and there was a trace of grievance in its trembling voice. However, how could it be an old goblin with a short leg that can run past an elf? There was a gust of wind behind him, and a hint of crisis came to Gulu's heart. Suddenly, a vigorous figure rushed up and instantly embraced its thin body. Guru turned his head in horror, and immediately confronted a big grinning face. Pointed ears, red explosive head, and the mean smile at the corner of the mouth. Even if the goblins could not distinguish the appearance of the elf, Golem recognized the identity of the other party in an instant. It's you ******, pretending to be human. It gritted its teeth. This guy again. This guy again. It regrets so much. Why did it follow this guy out of the ruins? I control it. Demacia clung to Golem and shouted excitedly. Comrades! Shoot me! Accompanied by bursts of singing, countless magic rose, followed by countless swords that shone with the brilliance of skills, and the two of them were drowned in the horrified eyes of Guru and the triumphant laughter of Demacias, ha ha ha. Open black lens bracket ding, close black lens bracket. Goblin undead priest has died. Open black lens bracket world boss mission. Objective 1 completed close black lens bracket. All participating players get the exclusive title, Goblin Slayer. Open black lens bracket. Participate in destroying one undead player. Get 3 perfect resurrection times, 1000 experience. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Participate in the elimination of 2 undead players. Get 3 perfect resurrection times, 2000 experience points. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Participate in the elimination of 3 undead players. Get 3 perfect resurrection times, 3000 experience points. Close black lens bracket. Players who participated in the elimination of the Goblin Priest will receive an additional perfect resurrection times and an additional 3000 experience points. Accompanied by the beautiful sound of the system, all players have received notifications of task completion, and a lot of rewards. All the players were taken aback first, and then you read www.ukavanshu.com cheered. Ha ha ha. We won. Wow, I got 4 perfect resurrection times and I still have 5000 experience points. You can go up to level 11. Huh. Didn't it mean that there is still contribution? What about contribution? Looking at the excited chosen, the oak guard Basaka walked out of the hidden forest in a daze. The mother ***** is on top. This group of heavenly chosen people is really terrible. He murmured, as if he hadn't recovered from the suicide attack by the elves just now. When they saw Barthaka, the players were all bright. Uncle B is here. That's right. The mission also has a goal, to sacrifice the staff to the goddess. That must be rewarding contribution. What is the use of contribution? It is said that it was opened at level 11, and we will know it after upgrading. It must be a good thing to be related to the goddess. The players rushed, and quickly fished out the staff from the ashes that Guru turned into. Except for the staff, Golem's other equipment has been broken into pieces under the attack of magic. Let me go, what material is this staff made of? As long as it is intact. Let me try the appraisal. I can't appraise. What the goddess wants, should it be quest items? The players curiously touched the staff, and when they found that there was nothing to gain, they stuffed it into the bewildered Basaka hand. Uncle B, hurry up and sacrifice. They stared eyes open, looking expectantly at the oak guard. Basaka. Subscribe to Chinese Novel Audiobook YouTube channel Chapter 36, Reaper's Orb. At the World Tree, Eve, who had just given the player a reward for the mission, quickly perceives the sacrifice prayer of Basaka. A move in her heart opened the sacrificial channel, and then a small skeleton staff appeared in the space of the godhead. Eve was slightly overjoyed. He waved his hand again, and sent, mission objective 2 completed, to every participating player as a system notification, and rewarded each player with 300 contribution points. Contribution is a function that players will not be able to open until they reach level 11. It is the points needed for players to change jobs, exchange skills, and equipment in Eve's temple. At the same time, players can also conduct contribution transactions, which is considered the early stage of the game. A form of currency. In the early days of the game, Eve had too few NPCs and not many players, so she would intervene in the form of contribution points for job transfers, skill learning and equipment exchange, opening the contribution point exchange system in the temple. However, in the future, Eve plans to gradually distribute these basic functions to other NPCs, on the one hand to improve the communication between players and NPC, on the other hand, it is also to appropriately reduce the burden of the game system to save divine power, and he will only focus on the exchange. Just put some special skills or rare equipment. After rewarding the player, Eve focused his attention on Golem's undead staff. As soon as the undead staff entered the godhead space, Eve felt the strong throbbing again. He used his divine power to gently touch, and a purple-black energy immediately radiated from the orb at the top of the staff, which was pure. The power of elven souls. Perceiving the desperate and sad emotions of the dead soul, Eve sighed in his heart and took action to purify it. Your nightmare is over. The holy and soft divine power brushed over, and the purple-black energy was immediately purified, transforming into an elf. They prostrated to Eve, chanted the ode to nature gratefully, and then turned into countless pure powers of faith. Entered the godhead of Eve. The purple orb also lost its original color and became crystal clear and transparent. If it weren't for a crack on it, it would be a perfect craft. And at the moment of purifying the power of the undead, Eve clearly sensed that his divine power had increased by 5 points. Previously, the players eliminated more than 200 goblins and provided him with 2.4 points of power. The elimination of the goblin high priest and his undead army provided him with 4 points of power to find a god. The blood crystal gave him 1.5 points of supernatural power. Even if all the consumption is removed, his divine power value now exceeds 25 points, the highest in history. Seeing his supernatural power value, Eve was delighted. It seems that destroying goblins is indeed a good way. If I can destroy all the emerald goblins, I am afraid that my divine power can be increased by a few points. Well, after the players are upgraded and transferred, they can be allowed to completely wipe out the remaining goblins of emerald. The remaining priests should not be a threat. The blood crystals they collected should be hidden somewhere in the ruins. How come there must be 4 or 5? Eve thought expectantly. In addition, there should be 6 or 7 elven cities in the elf forest, including the elf king capital. Even the nearest emerald has appeared goblins. I am afraid that these areas have also been infiltrated by Ural. If all the goblins in these places can be wiped out, my divine power may exceed 5. 10 barriers. Not only that, this hasn't counted the sacred blood crystals. If the sacred blood crystals are counted, I might be out of the near-death state early. Thinking of this, Eve felt more joyful, feeling that she was one step closer to freedom of movement. While happy, he intends to use his divine power to transform the staff of the undead into a legendary staff of good quality, and then put it in the contribution exchange system for players to exchange. This is not the first time he has modified or strengthened equipment. Eve divides the equipment of Segu's continent into 4 types: Golden Legend, Purple Epic, Blue Rare, and White Common. Not to mention the wooden weapons and equipment given to players after logging into the game. The equipment left by the group of half-orcs killed by the Oak Guard Basaka before was also returned by him. He refurbished it with a total of 0.1 points of power. Throw into the exchange system, all purple equipment. Just waiting for the player to open the exchange system after the change of job, and the liver contribution will be exchanged. Players' obsession with equipment, Eve, can't be more clear. As long as this system is turned on, the contribution will be rewarded in the future. Players will definitely refer to which one to play. Thinking of this, Eve assigned 0.05 points of supernatural power and planned to turn this staff into a black iron level golden weapon, unique to the whole server. However, as soon as the divine power entered the staff, an unexpected scene appeared. The imaginary equipment transformation did not happen, and the orb of this staff directly sucked in his divine power. Okay. Eve's heart jumped. Every high-quality staff will have an orb capable of storing magic power placed on the top, but what he releases is supernatural power. Divine power is not an ordinary power, www.mtlnovel.com, but the power of the true God, the highest quality and strongest energy in the world. What's the situation with this gem? Eve took a closer look at the staff again, and this look gave him a clue in an instant. The material of the handle of this wand is actually devil wood. Is it a seal? Devil's wood, a special precious plant that grows on a different plane, has the effect of sealing objects. If it is more than 1,000 years old, it can even block the sight of the true ***** to a certain extent. And the handle of this staff, Eve looked carefully and found that it was used to seal the orb on the staff. Before, he just thought it was a wand that stored the energy of the undead, but he didn't expect it to look away. There is a problem with this orb. Yes, if there is no problem, how could a mere goblin have enslaved so many elf souls? Thinking of this, Eve became cautious. It seems that I was overjoyed. I didn't find such a simple thing. Aroused himself in his heart, Eve intends to deal with this equipment again. Nothing that can absorb divine power is a common product, he wants to figure out what this gem is. Just as he thinks, Eve doesn't hesitate to break the orb from the staff and break the seal. As the seal was broken, the originally crystal clear orb suddenly radiated a soft radiance, and there was a faint sense of solemnity. Eve was refreshed, and then used his own identification ability. In his surprise, a full 2 points of divine power were consumed, and the true name of the orb appeared in his heart. Open black lens bracket Death Hela's soul storage orb damaged close black lens bracket. Chapter 37, Eve's Avatar Project. Death Hela. Eve's heart jumped, and the memory related to it in the World Tree Heritage suddenly emerged. Hela, also known as the **** of death and the Lord of the Underworld, is an ancient true **** who is in charge of death, aging and disease. He has the strength of the peak of medium divine power and is extremely mysterious. Legend has it that he lives somewhere in the underworld and barely participates in the battle between the true gods. Even if his priesthood is almost contrary to the world tree, he did not participate in the battle of the gods thousands of years ago. Of course, there are also rumors that the reason why he did not participate in the disputes of the gods was because he was seriously injured in a battle in the ancient times and has been recovering. But even if it is injured, no one dared to fight the Lord of the Underworld's idea. In the underworld, Gila is invincible. In addition, one thing is clear, that is, except for the soul of living beings, this true **** is not interested in the struggle of faith. His beloved seldom walks on the continent of Segus. How could Hela's soul storage orb fall into the fairy forest? Eve was puzzled. However, it's not an accident. In the world of Segus, the true gods often reward their items to the favored ones as artifacts. And when all parties fight, the loss of artifacts is more common. Unless it is those artifacts that the true **** values extremely, the true gods have no interest in recovering the general artifacts after they are lost. After all, a divine tool may only contain a few divine power values of the gods, and the divine power in the divine tool is not the blood crystallization of the divine power containing the power of the priest. The powerful true gods do not care very much. It's not worth looking for such a bit of divine power. And the consequence of this is that artifacts are flooded in the non-god high-end combat power of the world of Segus. Thinking of this, Eve smiled slightly and played with this soul storage orb again. As expected, after he perceived it deeply, he found that it contained Hela's 5-point supernatural power. This makes Eve a little happy. Although he is contrary to Hela's priesthood, if he absorbs the divine power in this orb, he can also transform 3 points of natural divine power for him. However, after thinking for a while, he gave up the idea. If I absorb the divine power value in this orb, then it will no longer be a divine tool. Eve looked at the orb, thoughtfully. Hela's research on the soul is quite in-depth. Legend has it that he can even make an artifact that can hold the power of the soul. I wonder if this gem has such a function. It is a pity that the current orb is in a damaged state. After Eve's appraisal, it was discovered that it only had the ability to store divine power, store soul power, and transform the undead. Perhaps, after I repair it, I can see its full power. If I can really accommodate the power of the soul, maybe some of my ideas can be realized in advance. Eve is very heart-shaped. He thought of incarnation. You must know that the main reason preventing him from descending incarnation is that with his current divine power, he cannot make a body that can support his divine and soul power. But if this orb can contain the power of the soul, he can use this orb as the core to create a body that can be used for God to descend. Not only that, the existence of Hela's supernatural power in the gemstone can also cover up his breath and avoid being recognized by other true gods at critical moments. This is more useful than his own avatar. Although the player's potential is unlimited, the native believers are also very good helpers, but this does not mean that Eve can completely rely on them. They are still too weak now, and some things will be more convenient for him to do it himself. For example, if Eve had a body made with Hela's soul storage orb as the core, he could completely take the goblin's lair alone without worrying about the winter and the revenge of the hunting Ural. He can also secretly take action when the player is confronting Ural's minions to solve the trouble that the player cannot solve. And Uller couldn't see his heels at all, and at most thought it was the hand of the beloved of death. But what does Hela's favored person have to do with my world tree? Cough cough. Anyway, the death Hela is a dead house that only stays in the underworld, and he doesn't communicate with the gods. If Uller noticed it, he reluctantly asked for it. Uller, a scum with weak divine power, dare to go to trouble with medium divine power. In short, no matter from which angle, a body that can move freely is necessary. Thinking of this, Eve immediately started repairing the orb, but when he started to repair it, he found that if he wanted to restore the orb completely, it would cost him at least 20 divine power points, and it would take a long time. Now I only have 25 points of divine power. If I start repairing the orb all at once, and the divine power is lower than 10, I am afraid that I will immediately fall asleep again. Thinking of this, Eve decided to postpone the matter and wait for the players to clean up the emerald goblins before acting. I hope the number of blood crystals collected by the goblins will not disappoint me. He thought expectantly. In the fairy forest. After a day of fighting, the sun has sunk to the west, and the players have felt exhausted, so they decided to return to the camp to rest. Of course, exhaustion is on the one hand, and on the other hand, many people plan to upgrade and change jobs, while others plan to watch. After this mission, more than half of the 300 people have reached level 10, and nearly 100 people have reached the standard for promotion to level 11 Black Iron. Different from the promotion before level 10, to be promoted to the Black Iron level of 11, you must go through the job change procedure in the Temple of Nature. So the players returned one after another and lined up in front of the natural temple in the fairy town. I have to wait in line for transfer and upgrade, is this too real? Looking at more than 10 people in front of the team, Demacia complained. Hearing what he said, Li Mu shrugged. You have to line up to do tasks, www.mtlnovel.com, don't talk about changing jobs. I am curious about what to do after the public beta. That's not what we are worried about. As the two talked, they moved forward with the team. At the forefront of the team, players who have successfully changed jobs have already come out. Li Mu could vaguely hear them talking about contribution, equipment, and skills, excitedly, which made him very curious. Could it be? Contribution is used to exchange equipment and skills. He had some guesses. The players who have successfully transferred their jobs are very excited. While moving their bodies, they are excited to try sword skills or magic. From a distance, Li Mu felt that the players' strength had been greatly enhanced, and it could even be said that the strength of the players was overwhelming. He clearly saw Xiao Shanmiao coming out of the temple. The elf girl excitedly threw a fireball at the old tree on the right front, and then, blasted a house that was about to be built on the left front. Of course, she was soon invited by the construction team leader Cuckoo Bird to have tea. I don't know whose house, it's a bit miserable. Li Mu shook his head. After hearing what Li Mu said, Demacia followed his gaze curiously. His smile faded away. Fuck. It seems to be mine. After finishing speaking, Demacia yelled in grief. Little Shanmiao, stop for me. Lao Su's two-story villa. After he yelled, he rushed over, regardless of the line-up. Li Mu. He mourned for Demacia for a second in his heart, and continued to line up. After a while, it was finally his turn. Chapter 38. Liver Pain. Li Mu took a deep breath and walked into the temple. At this moment, the place in front of the goddess statue enshrined on the altar has been vacated. He checked the job transfer tutorial in the game system and came to the goddess sculpture. After calming down his excitement a bit, Li Mu knelt down on one knee, followed the instructions in the tutorial, and said seriously. Praise the Mother of Nature, praise the Goddess of Life, praise the great elf master Uktrahir. As soon as S words fell, the idol burst into radiance, drowning him. Li Mu was in a daze and found himself in the scene of creating characters again. Open black lens bracket ding, close black lens bracket. Open the transfer ceremony. Your career field is spellcaster, please choose your transfer career. Open black lens bracket consumption for this transfer, 10,000 experience points, 200 contribution points close black lens bracket. Because it is the first time to transfer, you will get an opportunity to transfer across fields. After the successful transfer, your level will be directly promoted to level 11 lower Black Iron. After changing your job, you will get a gift from the goddess and once again get a professional skill. After the first job transfer, subsequent job transfers will be fixed in the professional field and cannot be transferred across fields. Please choose carefully. Along with the beautiful sound of the system, Li Mu received a prompt to change his job. Cross-field transfer. Li Mu's heart moved. He took a closer look, and quickly understood that this is for players who don't like the current class. That is to say, the first time when changing a job, the power system is allowed to be transferred to a spell-casting job, and spell-casting is also allowed. Transferred to a career in the force department. Hehe, this plan is quite humane. Li Mu said with emotion. He suppressed his expectations and checked the careers available for transfer. There are 6 occupations that can be transferred. The transfer professions of the Force Department are shooter, warrior and hunter. The development directions are respectively long-range explosion and sniper, melee output and tank, stealth tracking and assassination. The caste of the caster system is druid, mage, and priest. The development directions are auxiliary control and output, remote output and magic creation, auxiliary treatment and protection. Li Mu was quite satisfied with the caster, so he didn't plan to transfer to the power system, but looked at the 3 classes of the caster system. He doesn't like violent output positions, nor does he like inscriptions, magic equipment manufacturing, etc., so he first excluded the mage profession. Although the priest was in the list of job changes, after reading it carefully, Li Mu found that this job was temporarily closed for job change, so there was only one final choice left. Transfer to druid. He confirmed. He is positioning himself as a team commander, and the skills of control and support are the most suitable for him. The versatile druid has an advantage in this regard and can be said to be the best choice. Not only that, the 2 skills he now possesses, entangling vines, and healing minor injuries, were originally druid skills. Open black lens bracket confirmation. Transfer to druid close black lens bracket. Start of job transfer. After getting Li Mu's confirmation, 10,000 experience points and 200 contribution points in his game system were instantly deducted, and a soft and sacred power immediately wrapped him. Li Mu once again felt the comfort of gaining power. He felt that his 5 senses were further improved, and his sensitivity to magic, especially to nature, became more acute. A few seconds later, the job transfer was over, and Li Mu looked up his character card with no expectation. Name: Li Mu. Race: elf. Occupation: druid. Level: 11. Lower black iron. Open black lens bracket. Experience value: 0 30,000 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. HP: 1500 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Magic value: 2000 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Attributes: Constitution 150, Strength 100, Agility 100, Magic 200 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Skills: Healing injuries, first link, Vine surgery, first link, Natural whispers, first link. Title: Goblin Slayer. All attributes doubled again. And physique has also been strengthened. Li Mu was overjoyed. Not only that, his 2 skills, healing minor injuries and winding vines, have been upgraded, becoming a new spell. In addition to these 2 spells, he also acquired a new skill, Natural Whispers. Li Mu checked and found that the function of this skill is to communicate with plant animals and obtain information from them. I'm going to run wild on the auxiliary road. Li Mu smiled. In addition to the 3 skills, he found that he still had 2 vacant skill slots. Black Iron lower-level professionals can master a total of 5 skills. Open black lens bracket. Successful transfer close black lens bracket. The sound of the system sounded again, and the light flooded Li Mu, and he retreated from the transfer space. His vision changed, and Li Mu found himself still standing in front of the idol. Open black lens bracket. Ding. Close black lens bracket. The player reaches level 11, open the follow-up function. Open black lens bracket. The redemption function is enabled. Close black lens bracket. Friends function is turned on. Union function is enabled. These 3 functions are common functions in online games, and Eve has naturally already done it in the system. Li Mu skipped the last 2, but couldn't wait to check the exchange function. Exchange function. Consumption of contribution points can be used to exchange equipment, skills, reset and transfer opportunities, perfect resurrection times, disguise times, etc. in the Temple of Nature. Contribution can be traded among players. Close black lens bracket. Looking at this function, Li Mu touched his chin. It seems that this is the game mall of Elf Country. Maybe you will need to recharge your contribution in the future. He opened the convertible interface. At this moment, there are still very few things on the exchangeable interface. Li Mu skipped the rest and first found the skill exchange interface. He is now all auxiliary skills. It is best to have an offensive skill to defend himself. Thorn wood, the power of cattle, the grace of cats. At a glance, Li Mu saw a lot of interesting skills, but when he saw the contribution required later, The least skill is also 2000 contribution points. He swallowed his mouth. www.mtlnovel.com. Now he only has 100 points left, which is far from enough. No, I have to do the task quickly and find a way to increase my contribution. Li Mu shook his head, feeling a sense of urgency in his heart. All players have obsessive-compulsive disorder. When they see that their skill bar is dissatisfied, they can't wait to fill it up. Then, he opened the equipment interface curiously. In an instant, a dozen pieces of equipment with a flashing purple frame came into his eyes. Fuck. Purple epic equipment. The orc equipment refurbished by Eve, no matter what the quality is, but at least one of them looks very good. Even if Li Mu is not a power type, his eyes are bright. Beast head half body armor, refined scimitar. And there is still a quantity limit. Tusk, is it out of print? It's so expensive, the least has a contribution of 5,000. How long does it take the liver? Huh. There is even a devil's staff. Fuck. Gold outfit. It's a golden legendary equipment. Li Mu saw his eyes straight. The staff is the devil wood whose orb was removed by Eve. After the seal was removed, the devil wood was damaged. However, Eve still spent 0.05 supernatural power, using waste to reshape it into a dark iron level golden legendary equipment, named Devil's Staff. Li Mu caught it at a glance. However, when his gaze moved back to the required contribution column, 64,800 points contribution. He was a little dazed. Took a deep breath, Li Mu covered his liver. Not good, liver hurts. Chapter 39. The Devil Came. Put away the grief that was hid by the contribution degree. Li Mu checked the explanation of the contribution degree. There are two ways to obtain contribution. 1. Complete the plot task. 2. Exchange with items in the Temple of Nature. Story mission. Li Mu was taken aback, remembering the dungeon task they were still doing, the Old Holy City. For now, although a lot of goblins have been eliminated, in fact, the three goals of this mission are 1. Establish a stable transmission array. 2. Destroy all entrenched goblins. 3. Look for the blood crystals in the ruins. Actually, none of them are finished yet. However, after the redemption system was opened, the detailed information about the contribution obtained in the first dungeon task was further marked. Open black lens bracket. Participate in the establishment of the teleportation circle and get 500 contribution points. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Participate in killing a goblin to get 10 points of contribution. Kill a goblin alone to get 50 points of contribution. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Participate in killing a goblin priest to get 50 contribution points. Kill a goblin priest alone to get 500 contribution points. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Sacrifice a piece of God's blood crystal to get 5,000 contribution points. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. Contribution settlement will be carried out after the completion of each mission objective. Close black lens bracket. After reading the news, Li Mu's heart was pounding. Kill the goblins, build a teleportation circle and look for the blood of God. Although Li Mu had been looking forward to the first dungeon mission before, but when he truly understood the role of contribution, now he can't wait to fly to Filunqui right away. You must move fast. Now that many of you have reached level 11, the threat of the goblins will also be reduced a lot. The next step is to see who kills more quickly. The task of establishing the circle can be completed together, but in addition the two goals depend on who is faster. Killing goblins, looking for crystals is the biggest contribution, you must be the first to complete it. Li Mu quickly made a decision. After figuring out everything, he quickly retreated from the Temple of Nature, ready to contact a few old teammates. And when he came to the camp square, he was stunned. At this moment, many players who have advanced to level 11 have gathered on the square. It took too long for Li Mu to check the redemption interface before. At this time, almost all the players could transfer. But at this moment, no one was offline after everyone was transferred. All combat players had their eyes bright, and there was a faint feeling of eagerness to try. And in the square, there was a clamor one after another. We have teamed up, teamed up. Assault the holy city of Filunqui. Goblin search for the blood of God. 5 missing 1, come a tank fighter. As long as the black iron is in the position. Receive the blood crystal of God. 1 5,000 soft sister coin. Contribution is collected. Contribution is collected. 1-to-1 ratio, support the transfer of Fubao and prestige. Even Demacia, whose house was blown up, came over, with a look of excitement. Brother Mew, have you seen it? The exchange system. It's all purple epic equipment. There are less than 30 pieces in the entire server. I want to make up a set of warrior outfits. It may not be realistic, but at least a scimitar right, Would you like to spend the night together tonight? Li Mew. Crazy. Everyone is crazy. After figuring out the contribution system, the players after the transfer went crazy. More powerful skills, better and cooler equipment. Everything needs contribution to redeem. All the combat players who have changed their jobs are ready to move and plan to stay up late for the mission. The fairy forest tonight is destined to be a sleepless night. Eve, who was watching everything from high in the sky, sighed. He silently drew a symbol of Mother Nature for the emerald goblins in his heart, and prayed secretly. I wish you happiness tonight, green-skinned cuties. If you can get the blessing of the true God, the goblins will have no regrets in this life. Eve thought with satisfaction. Phylunqui ruins. After a day of activities, the goblins also returned to their lair. After the player's booby, the goblins in the emerald have been reduced by nearly 1/3 at this moment. Even if they are not high in IQ, they feel a little uneasy. What makes the goblins even more uneasy is that their leader, the high priest Gulu, has been out for a day and has not returned. This is very abnormal for the high priest who never stayed away from the temple. Fortunately, the existence of 3 other goblin priests suppressed the commotion of the ethnic group, and did not let this panic continue to spread in the goblins. However, it is only temporary. Goblin is a creature that is bullying and greedy. If there is no strong leader to suppress it, it will be a mess. At this moment, the other 3 goblin priests of Phylunqui had a dispute. In the dilapidated temple, the 3 goblin priests sat around a basin of shining pale green crystals and fell into weird silence. If the players are here, they will definitely recognize that the crystals in the stone basin are all the blood crystallization of the world tree. 26. After a while, one of the goblin priests spoke. There must be something wrong with the high priest, otherwise he won't drop these things. This is a tribute under the crown of the true God. He has always been greedy, selfish, and arrogant. If something really happened, he deserved it. Another goblin priest gloated. It has long been unpleasant to Gulu, and both are the favored ones of God Father, why should Gulu be favored? It's just a fluke to get the inheritance of the necromancer. The other 2 goblin priests did not refute, they also had the same idea. It's just that Guru was so powerful before that they didn't dare to say anything. Was silent for a moment, www.mtlnovel.com, the 3rd goblin priest said. The rewards under the crown of the true gods will only be given to those who have contributed the most. How do we deal with these things? It pointed to the blood crystal in front of the 3 of them. As soon as S words fell, the atmosphere in the temple became inexplicably stagnant. It is no wonder that many intelligent creatures look down on goblins, even if some of them have broken through the ranks and become priests, they still don't have enough wisdom and vision. The high priest is missing. Their first thought is not to check whether there is a potential crisis around, not to decide whether to pray to the true God, but how to divide the fruits left by the high priest. After a while, the goblin who spoke the first chuckled in a low voice. Isn't this kind of thing obvious? Only those who are strong can get the opportunity to have a dialogue with the true God. As soon as these words came out, the atmosphere between the 3 goblins became more stagnant. Just as their swords were drawn, suddenly, there was a faint commotion outside the temple. Shouts of killing, screams, and weapons hit one after another. The 3 goblins moved their ears, and they saw a trace of doubt and alert in each other's eyes. At this time, a goblin stumbled into the temple, with several wounds on its body and a face full of horror. What happened? The goblin priests frowned. The injured goblin collapsed. As soon as it came in, it fell to the ground, making gestures as if it had been stimulated. After its gestures, the 3 goblin priests stood up at the same time, their faces covered with absurdity. What? You said the devil came here. Chapter 40. Isn't it right? The 3 goblin priests looked at each other and snorted. Hide the tribute first, go out and see what's going on. Agree. Humph. They stuffed the blood crystals behind the **** and then under the guidance of the wounded goblins, they went outside the temple. It was late at night, and the silver moon on the horizon was as deep as a jade plate, but the goblins on the ground did not have the slightest feeling of appreciation. Filunqui at this moment has completely turned into a pot of porridge. Fire lights and shouts filled every place, and under the deep night, the originally chaotic Filunqui ruins became more chaotic. When the 3 goblin priests came outside the temple, they finally saw the so-called devil. The eyesight of goblins is not very good, especially at night. They did not see the appearance of the invaders clearly, but they saw clearly the pairs of eyes that glittered in the dark night. Unlike goblins, the elves of the continent of Segus have nocturnal vision, and their vision is minimally affected at night. This is a bit like cats on the blue star. And their eyes, under the reflection of the silver moon's brilliance, gleamed with dim light, like lanterns in the dark night. Coupled with the ferocity, greed, and coldness in the eyes, and the cheers and laughter when slaying the goblins, it really resembles the devil in the story. What kind of monster is this? The 3 goblin priests suddenly felt their creeps. One of them shivered, and sang boldly, performing a magical lighting technique. Under the bright holy light, a large area was suddenly illuminated, and the figure of the intruder was completely reflected in the eyes of the goblin elf. Looking at the big guys who looked terribly excited, with scimitars, bows and arrows and even ragged clothes that were captured, almost stained red with blood, the 3 goblins lost their voices at the same time. No. Is this really an elf? Elves are peace-loving creatures. Even when the race is the most difficult, they are only limited to expelling goblins, and they will never be a slaughter. But these guys. Even if it was just a glance, the priest saw from them something that elves would never have. Greedy, cold, ruthless. They saw the goblins as if they saw prey. They only kill for the sake of killing, and they are even excited about the killing. They even disregarded their injuries for hunting, and it seemed that they were not injured. Not only that, every time they kill a goblin, they will take all of its items, even if it is just a moldy stick, a ragged piece of clothing. The **** of winter and hunting is on. Is this a devil pretending to be an elf from hell? The 3 goblin priests were horrified. And when the goblin priests performed the magical lighting technique, their figures were also seen by the elves. For a time, all the elves lit up in front of them, and the eyes that looked like a behemoth made the goblin priests feel chills. Priest. Goblin priest. 150 contribution. Single kill 500. Get out of the way. Our team saw it first. Kill them. There must be something good on them. The voices of the elves were even more excited. They quarreled, shouted, and rushed to the 3 goblins like a tide. The 3 goblins suddenly numbed their scalp, feeling the black iron level energy fluctuations around them, and they suddenly gave birth to a retreat. Retreat, retreat, return to the temple. They turned around and ran without hesitation. Entangling. However, before they could run 2 steps, a quiet voice sounded. With the fluctuation of magic power, several vines with thick wrists suddenly broke through the ground and entangled them. The 3 goblin priests were shocked. They evaded one after another, but one of them was still entangled by vines. Brother Mew, good job. The elves around cheered. The entangled goblin priest was terrified. It didn't care about anything else, and desperately began to chant a spell. However, just as soon as it was chanted, an inexplicable heart palpitation surfaced. Danger. In danger. Suddenly, a cold light flashed. It only felt that there was a breeze blowing behind it, and then it didn't know anything. The head flew up, blood overflowing. At the same time, an elf holding a machete slowly emerged behind its corpse. His whole body is hidden in the darkness, his expression is cold, he doesn't say a word, like a silent killer. Fuck it. 1 hit kills. Headshot. The box lunch boss is so good. Is the hunter class so strong? The elves around sighed. There are assassins. The 2 goblin priests who ran away looked back and frightened to escape faster. They separated their routes and ran to the temple one by one. Escape. Must escape into the temple. Only if you escape into the temple, you have a chance to survive. Seeing the 2 priests take the opportunity to escape, all the elves exploded. Can't let them run. Remote magic. Remote magic. Boom. Boom. Accompanied by violent magical fluctuations, the fireball exploded behind him, and the wind blade lifted the stones. However, the elves do not seem to be very skilled, and their accuracy in long-range attacks is very poor. At this time, the goblin priest running on the left heard the shouts of the devil elves again. Little salty cat. Don't mess around, you hit right. Aim now, hit the one on the right. Right. The escaped goblin priest glanced at his companion on the right, and felt a little relieved. And the goblin on the right was almost scared to pee. However, before the priest on the left was grateful, a huge fireball instantly hit it and swallowed it with a loud boom. Haha, so accurate. Good job, Xiao Xian meow. There was a round of praise from the elves behind him. And at the last second of the goblin priest's consciousness, there was only one thought of aggrieved. Isn't it, hitting the right? Witnessed the death of two companions, the last goblin priest escaped faster, and it even blessed all the magic arts it could perform. And thanks to the sacrifice of two companions, it finally broke free and escaped into the temple. Without a trace of hesitation, the goblin priest stumbled and fled to the idol, hurriedly turning over the hidden blood crystallization of the gods. It trembled and began to place the ceremony, while pressing his inner fear and praying. Praise. Praise the winter, praise the hunter. Hunting, under the crown of the great true God, servant. The servant needs your help. As soon as S words fell, the faint brilliance began to gather on the idol. Thank you for watching. Continue exploring the fascinating world of Chinese novels with us. Hit that subscribe button on Chinese Novel Audiobook to stay updated with our latest stories, and never miss out on a great listen.